Yes.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Dungeons of Castle Blackmore, brothers and sisters. It's a good day, and we're always glad to see y'all. Let's see a couple things. I'm going to give you a quick summary of where we are, what we passed through over the course of the last several weeks. The players have been identified as a group of people that can deal with some threats that are specifically associated with the Dungeons of Castle Blackmore. There's this place below the city. And several of them were graduates of the University of Blackmore and were recruited by the Fetch, who was one of the faculty members there, and also had been rumored for a long time to be allied with and part of the King's service. Pretty much well known to have adventured with the King for quite a few times. So the players were given an opportunity to do this. They chose to. And they began some research, and they discovered that there had been many, many, many groups that had been sent down below prior to them. And they met with three of the different individuals who had descended down to the depths. And one of them was insane. One of them was an alcoholic and completely shattered. And one was damaged, but within her order and able to survive. So players dropped down into the depths, passed through the process that many, many people had passed through before, and discovered several odd and unusual things. They discovered that all the beings that they encountered below all were marked with different symbols, different marks on the back of their necks, right at the base of their skull, where their alpha vertebrae would be. And they also discovered different locations within the dungeons that seemed to, also be marked by different sorts of symbols, and that were filled with different sorts of energies. So the players came back up to the surface and really began to recognize that there was a mixture of behavior above and below, and that somehow the Egg of Coot was involved in this. PJ Idris's character picked up a moonblade, and this moonblade eventually became an individual to him, ancient elf who was trapped within the blade. And she began an interaction with him, and he began to have dreams. He began to have visions. And one of the visions that he had as a result of the journeys that they went through, and the journey she had, was of Shia and Dagshala, and two other elves, Lucan and another one, who had been together ages and ages ago in what they thought was the area of the dungeons, fighting these different creatures who helped build, define, understand, first explore the Black Rock and the space underneath the city. And this had been thousands and thousands of years ago, and they traveled from the Feywild. One of the things that became apparent is all these individuals were slain. Several of them had been captured prior, and the players began to recognize that the symbols they were finding were somehow tied back to these individuals. So they began to recognize that interconnection, and they awoke from that and really began a series of explorations and conflicts above and below the city. And the final iteration of that involved chasing down a group of were-rats who had been responsible for releasing into the city these bracelets and necklaces and charms that the players figured out through the help of the Cabal and also the help of the University of Blackmore, allowed the Coot, the Egg of Coot, to one determine who to one scry through them so he could open his vision to the entire city, but also occasionally to possess these individuals. So the players discovered this and triggered, at least they think they've triggered, search through the entire city to find out whoever's under the influence of things. And then they went to where they determined the source to be, confronted the people there, and engaged in pretty serious combat with them. In that fight, Idris was captured and hauled off. And there was a serious attempt in the last 3 episodes by the Egg and his thralls to subvert Idris and turn him into a thrall. His esteemed companions, not wanting one of their friends to end in that way, and also out of a sense of commitment to him, because one of the things that they were told, both by Uther and again and again and again by Fletcher, was you must love, and protect each other. The core of Brockmore is love for our fellow creatures and the willingness to make sacrifice for others. And our players, in their own way, based on their personalities, exhibited that sort of selflessness and took profound and absolute risks to get to their friend Idris and save him. And they did. They brought him out. They discovered many things, and they now have returned to the city to accomplish a bunch of things before they descend again into the depths. So, with that being said, as a quick summary, I'm going to drop into my house rules real quickly. Real simple one. Everything we do is role-playing, and everything is in character unless it's obvious mechanics. You're going to see some of that. We've been trying to do some of the mechanics behind the scenes for you. So we've been splitting up XP and selling off items sort of off stage so that doesn't tie up your time. But in general, if the characters are having a discussion, they're in character. If they're talking to my NPCs, they're in character. Anything they say is assumed to be heard by the people in the room with them, which will affect the behavior of the NPCs. That's thing one. Second thing is all skill checks are made in the tower. And this is pretty much across the board. And what that lets me do is that lets me feed information to the players, and the players respond to that information. They're not responding to the die roll itself. Now, a particularly wonderful roll, because I'm a nerd and a geek too, I will show and I'll go, Jedabink, you rolled a 20, or whoever you rolled a 20. And that lets the players, be rewarded for really good work and appreciate their die rolls. But it also lets the information be the mechanism delivery and not the die roll. Pretty much all attack rolls and most saving throws are made in the same way. So that being said, I want to stop briefly and identify something for us all. One of our players, Forsalanto, who plays Delbert, he is beginning a Star Wars stream using Fantasy Flight Grounds rule system tomorrow, and I'll be playing in it. Kithrain will be out there, and also Dintar, who's probably going to be joining us today, is also playing. So all that being said, hey, Jimmy, would you like to talk about your stream and what's going on?
So, you pretty much covered it. We're going to be running a Star Wars campaign. It's called Whispers in Starlight, and it's going to be a group of spies based out of Seleucami, a couple of years before the Battle of Yavin. So it should be very interesting, and that'll be happening over on my channel. So hope to see you there.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. To give you context, I hardly ever get to actually play as a character. Almost always I GM or DM. And I'm running a Jawa. Yes, I'm running a Jawa who is a demolitions expert and believes that Stormtroopers should be blown up. So it'll be a very good time for us tomorrow, and I encourage you to hop on. Let's talk real quickly about what everybody wants to accomplish today. So we'll start with Penny. Penny, what are you really looking to get done today, and what's your goals?
Penny is looking to secure the bulwark, and Penny ideally wants to go into the sewers and examine all the entry and exit points pretty much within like a half-mile radius of the bulwark, see how to get in and out of that place, all the escape routes, and reinforce what security measures there are in place there. So we do have a place outside that is relatively defensible.
Excellent. Jedabink, let's talk about what your agenda is for today.
I have been inspired by the brass golems, and I desire to give Catapult some fire breath. So that, and also working on the official research for my goggles of Coot resistance or Cootie resistance, if you will.
All right, I think that's going to be really fun to work through. So, and Delbert's goals for today are?
Well, I need to handle some magic dealings with the Cabal, and kind of settle into the idea of what happened a couple of weeks ago.
Excellent. Finally, Idris, PJ, let's talk about what you want to accomplish today and where Idris's head is.
Getting clean, and then spending his money actually today, or attempting to, with the Cabal.
Excellent. All right then. So let us stop. Let us drop right into activity. So you guys are in Blackmore City, and you are here at the Comeback Inn, and you had just finished having a breakfast where you sat down and you talked about what what you thought your challenges were going to be, and what you wanted to accomplish for yourselves, as well as having a conversation about, as well as also having a conversation about what you just passed through, all right, and what the impacts of it were. So you just worked through a whole bunch of sort of personal issues and had made some decisions about where you were going to go. So we're going to begin sitting at the Comeback Inn, having just finished your meal. Alwyn is right there with you. And of course, in cat form, is that correct, Forsalanto? Is that correct, Delbert?
Yes, cat form.
All right. Quickfoot is sitting in Delbert's lap, and I imagine Delbert is idly sort of petting Quickfoot. Now, Quickfoot, initially when he got turned into cat form and got petted, this freaked him out when he purred, but he's gotten used to it. So, all right. What would you all like to do?
I am going to go to the Bulwark and work in my new workshop that I have been gifted.
So,
I mean, you earned it, Genevieve. You done good.
I feel that, yes, based on the meritocracy of this situation, that yes.
Alwyn leans forward, puts her hand on Idris's hand, and goes, "So I think Idris and I are going to be locked in a room together for about a week, trying not to become furry and freaky, or maybe just being freaky."
Yep. Once Noswick gets us straightened out, it's most likely.
I heard there's lots of like poking and prodding in that procedure, so enjoy.
Well, we will attempt to. It's different than the poking and prodding I'm used to, but one does what one can.
Oh, you'll love it. They have to pay attention to you and cast spells on you. They'll feed us interesting things to eat. We'll hang out. We'll play cards. It'll be fun. All right, so I take it that Alwyn and Idris are going to go directly to the safe house where Nostwick is. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we did that last time. Like, they left
Yeah.
us there and they went to, yeah. So
Jenabink, you're going to go and begin to get your, spend a couple days getting everything set up for yourself within your shop, correct?
Correct.
All right. Delbert, you are going to go take your focus, and are you going to go home and try and transcribe the spells? Is that what the goal is? Or
Yes. I'm probably actually going to work out of the Comeback Inn mostly.
okay. So are you going to are you basically moving to take up residence here unless your parents specifically request you to be home?
Yes, because it's safer.
Well, that was offered to you by the Fetch, so you can do that. They do have a room that they've been hanging on to for you, so you can absolutely do that. So, and the different people who are staff are kind of excited to see you more often because they seem to enjoy your company. Penny, you going right back to the Bulwark and dropping down into the sewers and doing recon, correct?
Yep. Real quick though, Jenna, when I go back there, I'm going to be looking around real quick. So maybe before you start your research, you could help me look for like the weak points in the building for entry, and we could do that together real fast before you do your research. It'll only take a couple of minutes.
I've already plotted out my schedule for the day, but how long is really quick?
Maybe 15 minutes.
Genevieve grabs a napkin and starts kind of like,
Oh,
figuring out some
that
things.
part you have right there for lunch, you can just get rid of that. It'll be fine.
I only had 5 minutes for lunch. I mean, really, all I need to do is grab bread from downstairs and go. But I suppose that there are other things like sleep. Sleep is really not necessary, at least in that quantity. So yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Very good. So what we're going to do is you guys are going to do basically a floor-by-floor assessment of the security of the building, and you do investigation checks to identify what you think is weak, correct?
Yes.
All right. Because you're doing it together, you'll have advantage on the roll. Who will be making the die roll?
I'll have Jenna make the die roll. I give her advantage.
Jenna Bink, please make that die roll in the tower.
I see the smirk, then. I see the smirk.
All right, so Jenna Bink and you go over the basement, and Jenna Bink determines, and let me pop open your safe house for you, and we'll push that map out. All right, so Jenna Bink determines that the basement, the weak point, of course, is the grate. You were able to bust in and out of that. You're going to have to do something to provide increased security for that location. She also thinks that the stairs themselves perhaps could be made more secure. And you guys probably want to... actually, they would have pulled down that statue and pulled it out when the guard was in there. So that's no longer there. So I'll fix that for you on the map and reload it. So those are the two things that she identifies as of key interest on the in the basement. Let's go to the ground floor. Go ahead and make a roll in the tower. Listen, all the windows need to be replaced and hardened. It's really just the side window, and you've got 2 doors. That all just needs to be. You've got to increase your game there. Probably bars would do it if you wanted full security, and you both agree that would be done. Jenna Binks thinks she could fabricate those with no problem at all once she secures a forge. And the front and back door really should be more secure than they are. They depended on pretty good locks, but the two of you consult and determine that really you need to have crossbars, higher quality locks. Finally, the trapdoor leading down into the basement is just hidden by a rug, and you guys think that there's probably a better way to camouflage that. Let's roll for the second floor where the kitchen is and the stove. This area, it's pretty secure. It occurs to you as looking at it, if you wanted to, you could build a porch out of one of those sets of windows. So you had a place where you could get on the outside. That'd be really nice in terms of having a place to go outside, sit and watch the street, watch the city. Be a slight security risk because people could climb up to it, but you could always rig it so it was breakaway if you wanted to. But other than that, probably you just need to, put bars on the windows instead of, because what they had done is they just had shutters that you shuttered and locked. All right, but you think that's probably a better approach to it. Let's do the roof finally. Oh, the top floor is absolutely and totally secure as it stands right now. There's no windows in or out. Biggest issue is having a stable source of lighting up here, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, that's what you think it really, 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 really needs. And between, you've got a ladder running up to here as opposed to a set of stairs. So if you made the hatch from the 3rd floor down to the 2nd floor more securable with some sort of padlock, you think that would be the answer. And this takes you guys about an hour and a half to do all of it, but you're going over the building with a fine-tooth comb, and you've identified a series of things that you really think you need to do to make the building more secure.
Oh, Genevic's going to be so mad at me.
I was going to say, after every 15 minutes, after the first 15 minutes, I really think that I need to start getting to my research, Penny. I mean, I've covered this, and you said it was going to be 15 minutes.
Yeah, just taking a little bit longer. It'll be fine. Listen, we can't put a price on your safety, Jen.
Well, I mean, I suppose I do want my workshop to not, disappear, and I don't want to be disturbed. So
plus, if you get stabbed while you're researching, your research really doesn't matter, right?
That's true, but I would hope that you wouldn't do that while I'm doing research.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to stab you, but somebody else might come in here and try and shank you while you're researching. You got your head in a book. They come in from a window that's not secure, one of those grates downstairs, and they stab you right in the neck or something, and then all that research out the window. Think of all the knowledge lost because we didn't secure this building for your research.
I suppose that is true. I mean, I do need time to publish my work.
See, so I'm looking out for you and your benefits.
Fine. Okay. I'll just less sleep. Yes. Okay.
Jenna Bink, one of the things that does occur to you, all right, as you're working through this, is the safest place to set up your shop would probably be in the basement. You could do it on the 2nd floor, and use the area where the stove is, but that's a wood floor. It's a wood parquet floor. up there. And sometimes some of the temperatures you're going to be using are going to be well in excess of what's really safe for that space. However, downstairs, it's cooler. It's going to be able to tolerate the heat more. It's also going to heat the rest of the building pretty effectively. And you can also lay down some insulation if you need to. But in order to do that, you definitely want to have the hatch that leads down into the sewers much, 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 much more secure than it is right now. But you'll have to drop some, pipe, no big deal, down into the basement. So you've got a way to take smoke out. So you also think the more buffers you have between the ground floor and the top floor, you can disguise more easily the longer that pipe is, what sort of heat is being used down in the bottom, because it's going to be very, very obvious the closer you are to the top of the building, how thick the smoke is, what type of smoke it is, and what sort of work you're doing. It'll give you a little bit more ability to camouflage that activity if you operate out of the basement also.
Then I suppose that my workshop is going to be in the basement, yes.
Okay, very good. So probably what you've got to do, all right, is you've got to go negotiate and install components of your basement, all right? Now, it looks to me that a furnace, appropriate set of tools, basic stock, basic resources, a work table, things like that, it looks to me like that's going to run about 500 gold pieces. Are you comfortable with that in terms of an expense?
I am absolutely fine with that. I will take that off my character sheet right now if it makes my workshop happen.
All right, it gives you a nice basic workshop. Now, there are improvements you can make to it, but this would be what you use to start a basic business as a tinker. All right, so it gives you that ability. So it gives you examination table, it gives you a forge, it gives you some alchemical gear to test, the acidity of substances, things like that. So it gets you a basic setup. And keep in mind, given your ability as an artificer, you can change your tool set to specific things based on the sort of research you're doing. And this will give you a space to do that with very effectively. Does that work?
Yes.
All right, so we'll spend that 500 gold pieces, and that'll assume what you're going to do the rest of the day. I think what we'll do then, because we're going to be focused on a whole bunch of downtime kind of activities today, is let's really just get right into the research that you're attempting to do, all right, and the things that you want to do. So why don't you describe to me exactly what Jenna Bink is looking to accomplish while she is doing this research. Let's talk that through a little bit.
Well, so the first part of my research is that I am going to, while I am setting up the furnace and other things in my basement, I am going to take the knowledge that I got from the brass golems, including their bodies, because I kept those things, thank you. And yes. I'm going to figure out how to miniaturize that and put that within Catapult, so Catapult can have fire breath, because really all I want is a cat that breathes fire. Is that so hard? And so I'm going to kind of combine the setting up of the workshop with the research to figure out how to, infuse, make Catapult into a mini furnace. And then after that's complete, I will start, I will probably have to go to the university to accomplish some research on the wavelengths in light and Kutnis. But I'm also going to be utilizing anything that we've gotten off of Thrall people with regards to that kind of stuff.
All right. So do you want to start with the infusion, or do you want to start with researching possession and the Kut?
I want to start with the infusion only because I think it's going to be easier.
Okay. Well, I think that really the first thing you need to do is you did a field inspection of the golems, and you have a fair idea how they were put together. But really what you need to do now is you need to disassemble the components, take a good look at all of them, and then reassemble the components. It's keeping in mind that they did need to be physically put down, so there is some structural damage across the specimens. So why don't we just step right into it? What you're going to be able to do is you have your little shop here, but you also have access to the library. And part of what the research is going to be doing is you're going to do your examination, you're going to collect information, and I guess you're going to bop over to the You're going to bop over to the University of Blackmore's library and do whatever research you need. Now, are you going to consult with anybody and make this research sort of public so other people in the academy know about it? Or are you going to just do this privately?
I will actually look for, on one of my trips over there, I will locate Jessup.
Okay.
And I will offer to her the opportunity of a lifetime to work with someone as wonderful and intelligent as me, that she could get her share of the research with me if she assists me with things like, showing me the Burning Hands spell and assisting me with the research. And I would make sure that her name is on the paper second, of course.
So you are providing me with co-authorship. Is that what I'm hearing, Jenna Bink?
Yes, of course.
So you and I would basically be presenting a paper on how arcane science and traditional magecraft could be brought into sync to be able to create an item simultaneously together?
Well, there's partially that, but I think in addition to that, there's a more kind of research regarding just the coot. So I think there are actually multiple white papers to be accomplished here.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check with advantage. I would love to work with you. The only thing we have to be conscious of is I have multiple obligations to Fletcher, as you can imagine, and we'll have to work that into the overall schedule. But would Delbert be here often?
Delbert also frequents the Bulwark, so he would be present. Yes, I haven't invited him to do research, though, because the more names you have, the more saturated, and then you have to add the et al., and it just doesn't feel right if you have too many people, in my experience.
Well, I think that I could probably convince Delbert just to give us advice off and on. And I have to be honest with you, it does have some appeal to me to have Delbert present at times.
Oh, that's right. You are establishing a romantic rapport with him. And that's acceptable, but let's just hope that does not interfere with your schedule too much or only overlaps with like the Fletcher times.
Jenna Bink, I think I know you well enough now to tell you that it would be of particular use for you to have a benign model with which to observe so you could base future relationships on the behavior you see.
Oh, so you're positing that I use the opportunity of you interacting with Delbert as my own psychology research.
I think that also would be an added benefit of the relationship, but I would need you to encourage him to be present as often as possible, so I would have that opportunity to interact with him.
I will see what I can do with that. That might be affecting the parameters of anthropological study, but I will do my best to do that without affecting parameters. Yes. Observation is a parameter, though, so in any event, I'm affecting it already.
She walks into Fetch's office, comes back out with 2 snifters and a bottle of brown liquid, pours one for each of you, and says, one of the things that Fetch has taught me, is that we must secure every formal partnership with a little bit of recognition of Soquin. And she holds up a glass of Scotch whiskey, points to your glass.
I will also lift up my glass of Scotch whiskey.
She chinks it together to our partnership, and she drinks it.
Jenna Brink drinks it in this exact same manner and realizes that Scotch tastes a lot like failed experiments.
Certainly it's an acquired taste. So yes, she's going to assist you in the research, all right? There are specific instances where she will be able to give you advantage on the roll. There are some that she cannot because she's a partner, but she's not a sage in the same way that if you were going to faculty members or your parents or people like that. So what we'll do then is while you're doing this today, they get your stuff installed because they're doing it. You paid a premium to have it done quickly. The fireplace gets set. And you guys begin the examination of the components of the bronze golems in detail, disassembling. All right, we're making these rolls in week-based chunks. This is an intelligence check. The initial ones also, so let's review really quickly what you get for using tinkering function.
Okay.
So rules as written for you say that in specific instances you get what advantage?
So I don't get advantages, but if I am investigating anything that involves a history check that would involve tinkering or that kind of arcane machinery, I get to double my proficiency. So,
Okay.
So it's Artificer's Lore is the name of the
effect.
ability.
All right.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is this is definitely Artificer's Lore. You're familiar with golems. You've taken, several classes specifically with golems. This ties right back to it. This is core study for you. All right. So, and you've got a partner and assistant. Because you are using the Library of Castle Blackmore or University of Blackmore as a backup for you, that's going to be the equivalent of having max bonus in terms of an investment that you make on a weekly basis. That's what you would have to pay if you weren't basically considered faculty based on the support you're getting from Uther and the King. So you get a +6 in double proficiency on this roll. All right. So go ahead and make your roll. Okay. It takes you about a week to fully examine the bronze golems. All right. There were basically 3 stages to it for you. So you had to disassemble it. Then you had to identify the damage to each of the different pieces. Then you had to figure out how to put it back together physically. And you had to, look at the gem that was basically housing the magic, right? Because we're in Blackmore. So any particularly potent sort of spell has a gem that rests at the center of its animation. So, and also there are shards of black lock that are worked through all the sinew and muscle. Basically, they're spun into a wire around the copper wire that functions as the golem's nervous systems. So you're able to take all that, pull it apart, make a full map and schematic. And how Jessup's helping you, and Jessup comes over after work and she's there with you. You guys are burning the midnight oil. She's very good at mapping, very good at making blueprint, right? So you'll do a lot of work and she'll come in and she'll say this. And so you guys are building a tome about how these things are put together and how they're structured. So, all right, that takes you about a week. You're at the point, go ahead.
I was going to say, whenever I see Delbert at the Bulwark, I will invite him to come survey my brilliance so far in order to pull him into the radius of Jessup.
Delbert, while you're doing research, transcribing spells and to come back in, how likely would you be to head over to the Bulwark?
I think I would check in blind, at least. I would check in at the Bulwark probably at least once a day. But once I knew that Jessup was there, it would probably be longer periods of time.
Would you start to transcribe your spells there?
I might.
All right. Jessup, so you'd probably be doing that up in the kitchen on the second floor. She'd be downstairs. Jessup would have to come up and get tea quite often and spend time talking to you. All right. So she would engage you quite often and consistently once you were present. And it's all very pleasant talk. She finds you amusing. You find her amusing. It's the same sort of role-playing you've been doing with her before. All right, the two of you just have an affinity for each other and know what each other enjoys. And so she's very, very glad to see you there. Penny, as you're coming in and out of the Bulwark, you're observing this. All right, you're seeing this. And the primates seem to be engaging in pre-courtship ritual.
Delbert, I ain't running a brothel in here, just so you know. So if you want to keep your things to yourself, or at least go to the comeback in. I'd like to keep this place sterile. There's experiments going on here. I don't know about Genevieve stuff. I don't want anything contaminated. You know what I mean?
What are you implying?
Nothing. I got to go back down into the sewers. If I'm not back in 48 hours, then come look for me.
All right, Genevieve, go ahead and all right, you're at the point now where you understand the principles. There is physically, structurally a furnace, all right? And this furnace is designed in these creatures so they can grab someone, they can shove them into the furnace, and the furnace grabs them and pulls them into a cage and cooks them, all right? That really is not possible in terms of design for what you've got going with Catapult. But what you can do is you can see how that little furnace is designed, and through a combination of molten metal and basically coal, all right, really high temperature anthrax cold, you can build within Catapult a little furnace, and you think you can set some spigots. Now, it's going to be hard to control the volume. There's only going to be X amount of times that you can do it before you have to disassemble and reassemble and refill. But you're going to probably be able to do that every night. So you think you can build it so it'll spray out in a 15-foot fan in front of you some molten metal and do significant damage to whatever's in front of Catapult at the time. So you're pretty certain you're going to have to do it. But now it's really time to sit down and physically do the design. All right. And as you're doing the design, you think you're probably going to have to go right into crafting the beta model. All right. So go right ahead.
What do you want me to roll?
This would be your tinkering. So this would be a tool check for you because you're physically making now. All right. You are able, believe it or not, to get through designing the furnace. All right. So in about a week, the two of you were able to effectively design the furnace. So you've got sort of a prototype in mind. And there were a couple dead ends that you and Jessup went through where you were like, no, that's not going to work. Yes, this is going to work. There were a couple things that you went back and forth on that, but you're ready to go. All right. Now go ahead and craft the beta. And you may be in a position, if things go well, to install into a field test. All right. It was worth that week where you and Jessup, with Delbert coming in occasionally and arguing with you, and actually Idris is starting to show up now too. All right, it was worth the time to have you guys sort of beat through how to build that furnace. On the other side of it, you have a field test. All right, and you take your initial, furnace and the spigots that come out of it, and you install that into Catapult, and Catapult is absolutely very quickly able to use this. What it does is it sprays a fine mist of metal out in a 15 arc in front of him, and that reduces the reservoir. So you now have achieved that effect. Issue for you is going to be recharge, and if you completely drain it, there is a risk that when you go to refill it, it's going to crack and overheat. So that's one of the risks that you have. So if you completely drain the reservoir, i.e. use up all the charges in the same way you do with a staff or wand, there's a chance that's going to break. Now, it qualifies in game speak as an infusion for you, so you shifted one of your infusions into this for your Steel Defender. Absolutely think that's a good thing for you, and you're pretty much done. You're ready with it. All right?
Cool.
All right. Cool. Any questions, or you think you're good?
I'm happy.
All right. If you want to go hack that on your character sheet, Merry Christmas.
I already did so. So my character sheet already reflects that Catapult has fire breath.
Ooh, baby. All right. So, and that's like Burning Hands, correct?
Correct. I literally dragged in the Burning Hands spell and said he has 5 spell slots, but if I get to 0, we can, determine what bad things happen.
It's just like a wand. You roll a d20. If you roll a 1, it blows up. So
yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably you'll have to make me spend money or time to fix it, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Delbert.
Delbert I.
All right, so that took about 3 weeks. And basically, just to give you guys perspective, as you're coming into the bulwark, all right, as you're doing the different things you do, Jedabink is downstairs. You hear banging, you hear crashing, you hear all sorts of different noises, you hear high-powered squeals, all right, every night, and sometimes she's able to spend all day. Jessup comes in, runs upstairs, grabs something to eat, takes food down and says, if I don't feed her, she won't come up. Goes downstairs to see Jedabink, and anytime you see Jedabink, she's covered in soot, her hair's been a little bit charred, and she has work gloves on. All right. And that's pretty much all she is. All right. She's definitely got that mad scientist kind of look to her with, yeah, but incredibly happy. And as you go down and you look, the work's pretty amazing. First, she tears apart completely the golems. Then she looks at the components and documents them. Then she reassembles. Then she pulled out the piece she thought was most useful. She researched it, developed a furnace that worked for her, and then figured out how to install that furnace directly into Catapult. So Catapult's functionality has changed. So you guys have all got to watch that. So Idris, so all Hythonians look the same. So, Delbert, I guess what you've done is you started out moving your spells over, right? Just sort of step by step. And what you've got, all right, is you've got the staff and you've got this gem. And we talked about this as a focus, but it's a focus from the Cabal that doesn't look like any focus you have seen before. And the way the matrix is used is totally different. As opposed to it being along the planes of the gem, there's almost like neural tissue built. There's networks within the planes built here. So it's a different sort of design that you haven't seen before. All right. Now, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to go talk to Nostwick immediately with it? Or do you want to spend a little bit of time with it first? Or do you not want to talk to Nostwick? Totally your decision.
You know, not I've at least gotten reason to trust Nostwick a bit, so I'm going to go to him immediately and show him what I've got and see what he says.
All right. So you go. And you go to the safe house, and it's fronted as a warehouse, so they immediately let you in. And there's a new person there. There's a young man, Thonian. He's bearing the sigil of the Cabal. He's in the Inquisition, but he's not an Inquisitioner. Member of the Inquisition, probably a little bit older than you. All right, but you're a prodigal. You're basically the boy genius, right? But he's like, "Oh, Delbert, it's good to see you, sir." And you outrank him. You're a war wizard. All right. He is journeyman, junior most level in the Inquisition and the Cabal. How can I help you?
I'm here to see Nostwick.
So
Is he about?
he will be free presently. He's in with Idris and Alwyn, getting them prepared for the process they have to pass through. My name's Antoine, sir, and I've been restationed here to support Nostwick based on the increase in activity that the Inquisition and the Cabal have found here in Blackmoor. So I'll be functioning as his aide. If there's anything you need in terms of scheduling or working with him directly, please just let me know. It'd be my great pleasure to assist you.
Restationed from where?
So I come directly from Vestfold, sir. But my family? But my family's actually from Mouse, sir. Actually, outside of Mouse. So, my dad's
How did you?
my dad's a Cooper.
A Cooper?
Yes. He makes so I wanted to be a mage. I mean, I saw on my sister's name day, my mama hired a wizard to come in and cast magics, minor illusions I know now, and some prestidigitation, and it amazed me. And so I asked my dad I wanted to be a wizard, and he helped me. He showed me how to apply the things that we needed to do, and he was able to fund my schooling through some very, very hard work on his part. But yes, that's how I became a member of the Cabal, sir. And
So you went from a chicken farmer to a wizard. That's honestly amazing.
he's kind of shocked by it, and he goes, "Well, the Cabal, sir, finds those of us with talent, and some people who have talent are sorcerers, and we need to help save them. And some of us can learn through study. I was brought up in a craft, and the process of making a barrel is similar to the process of making a spell. It requires a formula, it requires structure. There are components you put together, and then there was a predictable result on the other side. So." I had the talent to see the weave, and it was a matter of transferring skills from one mode to another.
Well, I wish you luck.
Nostwick comes up and he goes, "Antoine, go make certain they have tea, keep them comfortable." And he goes, "Come into my office, it's good to see you."
Good to see you.
Hang on,
How's business?
hang on a second, let me step into my Nostwick. Business is fine, I have to say. And he brings you in, he sits down at his desk, all right? His desk is covered in shit, all right? Just covered, all right? And there's two very comfortable chairs opposite, and he goes, I have to say that Idris and Alwyn have... they're going to be fine. The issue is to unwrap the magic. It's not just simply a matter of removing the curse, Because it involves possession also from the Coot, there's a ritual we've had to cast that High Spellwise was actually involved in, and we've been refining it to pull people away from the Coot who've been enthralled. And it hasn't been successful by people who are fully bound all the time, but for individuals that are on the front stage of the infection and the domination, it has been successful, and we know. Alwyn is Alwyn. I'm not worried about her. And I am surprised by the strength of character that Idris has shown in this regard. I think he will be fine. I just have to work them through the process. So
I, too, find him consistently surprising.
We captured 3 sorcerers from the group we were in pursuit of. Cork and Donegal have taken him to Vestfold, where they will be given an opportunity to reconsider the path that they're on. And we slew one. The leader of that group, they invested substantial magic in protecting, and she was taken away in some way, shape, or form. We have reason to believe they had a boat stashed on the coast, and they took her there. We also found a cache of looks like potion bottles of different sorts and scrolls that they used once they had retreated from the compound that you're in and broke into groups. Wanda, I think, was her name based on the information that was collected by Cork, and halfling sorcerer, who she knew very well, escaped with one other individual. Another group went down the coast, and we weren't able to catch them. One up the coast, and we caught them. So I think that cell has been effectively eliminated, but they still are active in some way. So Cork tells me you might have an item that would be of use to me, use to the Cabal. And I want you to know that the report given to me by my arcane warriors of your behavior and the behavior of your team was exquisite. This is exactly the sort of activity that we as Cabalists need to take to protect the realm and to bring sorcerers under our protection so they can live full and nourishing lives as members of Blackmoran society.
I'll pull out the staff, and, well, I guess I've got the staff in my hand, and I'll say, yeah, take a look at this.
Hey, guys. Well, the craftsmanship is excellent. And he looks at the gem, and he passes his hand over a drift globe, and it goes to daylight, and he holds it, and he twists it, and he looks down into it. And you see him ritually cast detect magic, and he looks down into it, and he shifts, and there's this green light that emanates from it, and he looks at it, and he twists it, and he touches it, and he goes, cast light, and he shows you the shape of the weave, and he goes, that, and he shows you the sigil, is the mark of the Inquisition. This is a staff of of the Inquisition, and the individual's name is Asala, and I know Asala, and I know all Inquisitors back for 150 years. So this person has no place here, but is the mark of the Inquisition. That spiral, and he shows you stuff, marks it also as someone trained by the Inquisition to embed spells within. And this individual also was a wall wizard like you. So there are some similarities here. But tell me what you saw in the way the weave was trapped, the way the spells were trapped within the focus.
Well, the normal way that spells are encoded are along the planes, but this is almost organic, the way the spells are encoded.
I agree. This is not of this world. Do you agree?
I agree.
So one of the
Some of the spells are quite unique. I've never heard of them.
So I have not dived deeply into the magic that's within. So, but I can see that. Wow, new magic. a new design. This is well done. I think one of the challenges that we face and we know must exist down in the dungeons in the area below is it is a place, I think, where worlds meet. And you and I have not talked about this at length, but I think that there are portals to many places beneath. And based on the things you have told me and I've discussed with the Fetch and also things that I've consulted with the folks in Vestfold, with our leaders, the concern is it is a gateway to many places, and reality is thin and crisp and breaks down below. So this has origin there, maybe? Was this part of Wizards working with the Coot in ways we don't understand? Did they have access to below? Many things occur to me. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's rather like a puff pastry. It has many layers, but as you bite down on it, the flakes crack off, and you never know where they'll go.
Aye. Aye. Like peeling an onion, eh? Each layer makes you cry in a different way. And he sets it on the table and he looks at it and he goes, So you have proven yourself to me in ways as a comrade. I think also I am fully authorized by the Cabal to allow you to take all the magic, all the spells from within here. And I know some of this magic is probably beyond you based on what I'm seeing. Is this accurate? You've looked at all the spells?
It is.
So you will have access to these spells when you are ready. So I will make certain that is not a burial to you. But I will need to take this focus and have it examined by people within the Cabal who have expertise in this sort of item. And you know what he's talking about. It's sort of the magic item Black Ops division, the people that do crafting, right? So you know what he's talking about. He says, but at the same time, you have secured an item of interesting power. Several things you need to consider now, Delbert. There are, simply put, there's assistance I can offer you now that you've shown yourself to be truly an agent of the Cabal. First of all, the way you've handled this and the way you've chosen to help me moves me forward in my career. I am being frank. We will talk politics of the Cabal. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
You have... you may call on me for assistance in some instances. I will collect information for you. I will help you find things. I will, considering the risk, assist you in whatever you need me to assist you with. Right? The Cabal. We are all brothers and sisters. We are comrades. We are not all friends. This must be obvious to you.
Yes.
You and I begin a friendship here. So, in effect, you have a chit you may collect from me, several, depending on the risk. This is thing one. Thing two, it is at my discretion and also the discretion of the Flesh to offer access to certain materials within what is made at the university and also is made by Cabalists here. So, do you need potions? Do you need scrolls? Are there specific things that you need? I know that Janabink has the ability to cast some magic from scroll. We have scrolls for those who are not Cabalists. For Cabalists, of course, we encode the spell within we encode the spell within the fragment of a gem. You're familiar with this, are you not? So for you, we would have one specific sort of item. For others, you could pursue them as scrolls. So this magical innovation is relatively new, but some are aware of it, and I believe you were. Secondly, if you have potions that in game speak common and uncommon, I can give you access to those also. Some are not always available, some are. So we'll have those things available to you. And finally, this staff. And he reaches down into his drawer and he pulls it up and he drops on the table a teak box. All right. And it's got a latch on it. All right. And it's a latch, but it's not a latch. It almost looks like it's a seal of the Cabal. All right. It's like there's no hinge on it. Right. But it's where there should be a latch, and the box is completely sealed. All right. And he says the command word is Suha. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll open the box.
So you say the command word, and all of a sudden a seam forms, and there's a split in the seal of the Cabal, and you open it up and you look down, and there's a slim wand, and he goes, "You'll need to attune yourself to that, but that wand is designed for war wizards, and it will make you more able to target your enemies." So I know from discussions with Cork that you prefer spells that you cast and are powerful but require you to hurl them. Is this not true?
Very often, yes.
All right. So when you're using those spells and you use this as use this as a focus for that spell, in conjunction with your gem, you will receive. And he talked you through it, and you're thinking it's a +1 wand of the War Wizard. So, in giving up the scroll for him for research, I am more than willing to give you this as a token of my esteem. So, we have a reputation, Cabalists, for and the Inquisition in particular, for being hard and inflexible, and that is well earned, and we are. But at the same time, magic is a gift. Magic is power. Great evil can be done in a land with unrestricted use of magic. You have begun to prove to us that you are capable of discretion and effective use of that magic, as have your comrades. So, what you choose to give them through me, I will support. And I will support you as you encounter issues moving forward. Do we have a deal, brother?
What are your ambitions?
Me?
How high do they go?
I do not have the acumen or the desire to live within Vestfold and be engulfed in the toxic politics of that group. I will be frank. I have been given Blackmore. I have been asked to make the city safe and purge the influences of the Egg of Coot. I want nothing more than to accomplish my task here and make this city the center of our kingdom, the center of the allegiance of races that Uther has formed with his friends, a place where the Coot has no influence, sorcerers when found are given a gateway to salvation, and the common people can live in safety. I want no more than that. Those are my goals. And I can see you, as a Galen, based on the activity of your family and the choices you make, share similar ambitions. So, I've had very good friends who were sorcerers and passed through the gateway and the change and were able to join us in handling magic in a disciplined way that keeps us all safe. I do not hate them, but magic corrupts. Magic can twist, and they are more susceptible to the influence of the Coot and also demons and devils who traffic in magic than any other group. So I protect them, I protect the land, and I want nothing more than do that here and make this, my station, safe. But I believe sometimes I must do hard things to accomplish that, and I am unflinching. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I think that our goals are aligned. We do have a deal.
And Delbert, what do you want for yourself, eh? What do
I'm not
you
sure
aspire to?
I'm not sure I've completely unfolded what my ambitions are going to be at this point. Things are too uncertain with how things are going in the down below, and currently I just, all the things that you said are also true for me. I want to reach a point where we can all coexist, but to get there will be some hard choices to make.
So, as I understand it, your spell fell upon innocence for the first time,
Yes.
That is a hard thing. I will not pretend to tell you that It will not happen again. And here is what separates us from the agents of the egg and some of the sorcerers who've succumbed to him. You have regret, do you not?
I do.
You hate that thing that happened and your role in it. That is the difference between us and them, simply put. And there are those among them who also have regret, and those we can save, but there are also those who relish in the destruction. And those, they must be slain. It's simple for us. But, all being said, I am here for you. I will support you in whatever way I can that does not violate my oaths. And welcome to the Cabal in a way you had not known as an initiate. You are now a war wizard, someone who leads our allies and arcane warriors in combat against the corrupt, and you have the support of the Inquisition in finding that evil and expunging it from the land. So, I would love to speak more, but I have to, I have to go, Brand Idris. So,
I won't ask.
he'll be fine. All right, I must go. It's a pleasure seeing you, brother. And he stands up, opens the door, waits for you to leave his office. Are you leaving the staff?
Since I have access to the spells, when will I have access to the spells? That's the question.
Oh, you're asking him that? Oh, Al. I trust you. Take the wand. Bring the staff back once you've transcribed the spells, eh? I trust you
Very good.
implicitly. All right. And so you head out, and you're going to spend, you know the rules for transcribing spells. Go ahead and calculate the amount of time it's going to take you to move the spells over. All right.
Okay.
There is a gold piece cost for you in terms of, there's magical ink, but there's also powdered gems of the appropriate school for each spell that you use to power the transference. All right. So just plan on that time. And that's probably what you end up doing while Jettabink is, building, smashing, creating, right?
Okay.
Outstanding. And I imagine you guys are going to have a discussion where you determine what items you want to purchase. So, Penny.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about what you're doing.
Well, I'm going into the sewers after we've seen all the vulnerable spots in the house, and I'm going to attempt to secure about a quarter to a half mile radius around the area in the sewers, find all the entrances and exits, see what other denizens are down there.
Well, the city's about 3,300. It's about 3,500 feet across at its widest point and 2,000 feet across at its most narrow point. So that's, quarter to a half miles most of the city. So what you want to do is you want to explore the sewers in detail. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Correct.
All right. So really, are you looking to secure from a security perspective, all the intersections of tunnel network that's directly around your shop? So you want to know the immediate ring and then as much of the city as you possibly can, right?
Correct. And all access points nearby, potential escape routes, what potential dangers, either natural or unnatural, exist.
All right. What I'm going to do is, this really feels like a survival role to me in terms of tracking to identify stuff. I may have you make some investigation. What I want you to do is I want you to give me a tracking roll. And this involves humanoids, so you get a bonus on that.
Okay.
That's your favorite enemy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Directly across from you, next building over. Remember there was a boarding house when you guys first broke into Zink's Pottery Shop where there were people across the street that were completely and totally alerted? You find an entrance out of the sewers to that relatively close and adjacent, and it's super well disguised. You don't think, based on what you're seeing, that this has been opened in a long time. All right. You can see when you pop it open, there is only one set of tracks in here, and it's on the way out. All right, there's no traffic back and forth, and you found it just because there was a handprint in the moss where somebody, scraped off some moss as they were getting the secret door that hides it to open. That's how you picked it up, and it leads up into that boarding house. But you don't think, and are you going to go in and go up into it?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
All right, when you go in and go up into it, you get to the top, you flip the hatch open that's up there, and it's actually it's in a hollow wall. And as you're searching in through there, and you're going to take time to do it, you find out that it opens up into a chimney. All right, and so you could come up here, pop open the chimney, and go straight up out and never be seen. And it looks to you like somebody did that.
Okay.
All right. It would surprise you if the people in here knew it was going on. And as you're in the chimney, you can tell that this particular room has someone in it, because you can see where there's relatively fresh ash and stuff in it, but nobody's in the room right now. So I'm assuming you're doing this during daytime. So this is probably somebody's room.
Okay. But it does look like somebody has used this to egress in and out of the sewers, this area,
Once.
recently?
Once. And about the last, and within the time frame of all the shit going bad, right?
Okay.
So it looks like somebody might have bugged out through it.
All right.
All right. And remember, did you have one where Rado escaped? I think you might have had one person escape. No, you didn't. You killed that one. All right. Someone bugged out this way. You're not certain who.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Give me a second roll.
Sure.
Okay. The rough circle, you're pretty much certain you found everything. All right. You know where there was that access point that goes up into that one stable. You found the sort of secret lair that went up into the warehouse that belonged to Gregor and Duran. Right. So you figured all that out. The rest of that link, you're pretty certain you're good. All right. You figured out everything else that's going on. As you're exploring the city, and I'm just going to give you some broad points for about 2 weeks, all right, you cannot get in or underneath the university at all. No way. No egress. If there are points of egress, they must be covered by magic that you can't even touch. All right. Likewise, when you get on the north side of the city, all right, let's bring that map up for you. When you get up on the north side of the city, all right, pretty much above this street and the King's Way, all right? Anything above it with the government offices and the noble houses, yeah, all of a sudden the sewers become much more secure is the best way to describe it. Series of gates. The gates don't really don't really open. You'd have to use things like pass walls and stuff to move through them. Once you get up into the northern quadrant of the city, you really can't get access to anything. But everything pretty much south of the King's Way, with the exception of the University of Castle Blackmore, is a network. And you are familiar enough with the network now, spending 3 weeks researching it and going through it, that you can navigate it with ease. What's your particular environment, by the way?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, what? As a ranger.
I don't think I get, with a UA ranger, I don't think I get one.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, if you need to make I know what we'll do. You have, based on your background, which is Urchin, correct?
Yeah, City Secrets.
City Secrets, okay. City Secrets for you is going to involve moving through the sewers incredibly quickly. All right. So almost every shortcut will also have the advantage of you not being seen by people on the surface based on the work you've done here. All right.
Okay.
Now that can get, if that gets used too much or somebody figures out what you're doing, you're going to know. All right. So that's what you were able to accomplish. Is there anybody you want to talk to during this period of time?
I also want to get that box made as well, the lead-cased box.
You know what? The best place to go have that made is to go up into go to the gnomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the sort of stuff that they make all the freaking time. That's sort of a specialized thing. Now, over here on the map, see this compound right here?
Oh, yeah, the Blackmore map again.
Yeah. See that? That is packed with shops. All right, and that's just loaded up with gnomes. And Jenna Bink's parents live very close to there. Her brother's shop is very close to there also. All right.
I'll try and provide business to the family of Jenna Bink. It's one of the Binks.
Oh, you want to go see her brother?
Yeah, I'll go to her brother's shop.
So her brother makes toys more than anything else. All right. And so you come in, all right, and he's wearing goggles, all right, and it's clear that the goggles that he wears also help him see better, all right. And as you come into a shop, he comes around the corner, all right, and he has in his hand what looks like a toy soldier, all right, and he sets it down and he goes, "Ah, Penny! Hi, Penny. You are the friend of Jenna Bink, are you not?"
Yeah, that's me. Jenna Bink and I are old pals.
So, it's always a pleasure to help a friend of Jenna Bink. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I just spent the last week in Asula, so feeling real good about myself right now.
Well, and he's got a big old gnome nose, and he leans forward and he takes a big sniff, and he says, "You do not seem to stink of sewer, so your hygiene is outstanding."
Oh, thanks. I try and bathe at least twice a day, especially with the work I'm doing right now.
So I understand completely. I think hygiene is essential to the protection of disease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Delbert also sprays me with this spell thing that makes me not smell so crappy when I see him.
Oh, that is not mending. It is the other one. Prestidigitation, is it not?
Yeah, something like that. There's a lot of letters and words in it and stuff. Yeah,
Regularly.
Jenna Bink, when she was 12, spent 3.5 days explaining to me why prestidigitation was more useful than lye soap in a brush.
Oh, I'm sure you have wonderful Jenna Bink stories that you can indulge me with that I can later relate to her that you indulge me with such stories as we talk about business.
Matt, you may invent 2 or 3 interactions between Jenna Bink and her brother that are shared with you today that you may use in additional narration. I just want to be able to bunk them with holy water before they are used in play. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works great. It's fantastic.
Outstanding. So he sits there and he actually, pours you some cider, pours himself some cider, and it's hard cider, and he stops his work and he goes on for a couple hours about, and then she said, and here's the thing, he talks like she does, but Jenna Bink has this big ass mind, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely apparent. This guy doesn't. All right. He's not nearly as smart as she is, but he's funny. He's got a good sense of humor. He understands people a little bit better. You can tell that.
He got the personality.
Yeah. So he's amusing and he's well fitted as a toy maker. And when people come in, he'll stop briefly and he'll go over and he'll talk to him. And he's so good with little kids. All right. He's just a sweetheart when it comes to little kids and helping them find exactly the right toy. And he is loaded with Clockwork toys. So he comes to you and he says, "So, I think there are things you need. What can I make for you?"
I need you to make me a very special toy box. It needs to be lined with lead. This toy box.
Oh, for toys.
For toys, yeah. For my toys that I don't want nobody looking at, I need a nice little lined toy box. You know what I mean?
Would you like me to make a puzzle box?
Yes. How difficult would it be to open said lead-lined puzzle box?
I would show you how to open the puzzle box very quickly.
I would like that immensely. How large of a puzzle box could you make me?
How big do you want it?
Maybe enough to hold an object about so by so and 8 to 10 pounds, something like that.
Oh, yes, I could make that for you.
Okay, all right. That should be sufficient for most small items to be concealed that are toys, of course. My toys.
12 inches by 12 inches?
Yeah, that sounds about. Yeah. That's about good. Yeah.
Puzzle box must twist to open. Eh?
Yeah.
All right, I can do this for you.
About how much coin we talking for this here puzzle box and stuff, you know?
Oh, you're a friend of my. You are a friend of my sister. So, and he starts calculating, and he slides it across the table, and he shows you what he's thinking. He's like, and he's talking to you. Go ahead and make an insight.
Sure. Okay.
He's not fucking with you at all. He's giving it to you so he makes a little bit of money, but the process of him figuring out how much this would cost is completely transparent. This is the same deal he would cut for Genabink or anybody who walked in here. All right? So he slides across the table to you, itemized list of how much time it's going to take him to do things, right? Sits right there. And it is clearly, without a doubt, this much in components, this much in time, this much in, so he's going to give it to you hang on, 85 gold pieces. He's making about 8 gold pieces on it when all is said and done. So he's giving you a 10% markup on it.
Okay. Would you be willing to take that 85 gold pieces in silver coins? Because I came into a large substance of those recently.
Oh, absolutely. Most people pay for most things here are in silver. Silver is easier for me and it helps. I will take them.
Okay, I will give you 850 silver coins then.
Excellent. I can use them. And gold is actually relatively rare. Silver is what most people do business in. So gold's a $100 bill. Silver's a $10 bill. Copper's a $1. Think of it that way.
Okay. I just did the math. I'm removing 850 silver coins from my inventory.
All right. So he says, I can have this done for you in a week, maybe 10 days. I will, you stay to come back in with Genabink, do you not?
We're mostly working out of the bulwark right now.
Ooh!
I think most people will have known it as Zink's Pottery, but it's now under the name of the bulwark. We're working on a sign and everything and some modifications to the building, but yeah, we're getting around to that.
He was the thrall that you executed, was he not?
Execute is so impersonal. I feel like we put him out of his misery from being enthralled to the egg of Kut and put him in a better place now is a nicer way of saying it. Execute sounds like he didn't even have a chance to fight back.
He smiles. Very good. I will let you know when it is done. Is this good for you, Penny?
Yeah, that's fantastic. You know anybody that like around here that deals with like metallurgy and fabricating like metal bars that go over windows and stuff, and potentially works on like trap doors or houses or anything like that?
Oh, Oswald. Yes, Oswald.
Okay, can you point me to a shop, because I'm gonna need to like have him come over and take a look at some things and possibly do some work.
He opens the back door. All right. He opens the door into his office and he goes up and you hear him yelling up the stairs. And he goes, "Dear, can you run over to Oswald and have him come over?" And she's like, "Okay." And you hear the back door open and she goes out, and after about 10 minutes, this older gnome comes in, wiping his hands, and he goes, "All right, you called me." "You called me off the forge. Why did you? Oh, is this Penny? Is this Genabink's friend, Penny?"
Yeah, that's me. We're old chums, Jen and I.
He steps up and hugs you. All right. "Oh, you've been so good to Genabink. We have heard all about you from her mama."
My hand is on my purse as he's hugging me.
So doesn't go anywhere near it.
I'm sure, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, so, is it true you told Frida Gaydon you would not wear her dress?
And nicer words, I guess, maybe, yeah.
So, I think that's pretty brave.
Yeah, I told Frida a lot of stuff that day. She's very forceful, that woman, and kind of needed to be told to mind her business a little bit, you know what I mean? With all due respect.
He wants to gossip with you, and it's not bad gossip, but what you're getting out of this is that you realize that, at least amongst the gnomish community, a lot of the things you have done are talked about, and you're getting a feeling that Genabink is being held in really super high esteem because she graduated with honors from university. She's on a path to become faculty. All right, you're getting a feeling that everything she does, and by extension you do, gets processed, and they're right about some things and they're wrong about some things. Like, to quote Braveheart, you're not, Idris is not 10 feet tall and breathes fireballs from his ass, for example.
Any story that they are exaggerating slightly on towards Jinnabink, like that makes her seem like superhuman and that kind of stuff, super gnome,
Yes.
I will encourage, you know.
Okay. So you embellish.
Yeah, I'll embellish the stories a little bit too. You know, build her up in the community.
Apparently, they all found it very interesting that Idris and Alwyn Morland spent 3 days never leaving his room or her room and to come back in. And they probed that a little bit with you to try and find out if that's indeed what happened.
I don't think Idris has that kind of stamina, if you know what I mean.
All right. So you do everything you can to discredit that.
Not everything I can.
Okay. Very, very good. So,
Just I'll insinuate, you know.
so do you want to negotiate all the things that you need done?
I'd like him to come over to the shop and take a look and give us an estimate.
All right.
Do like an appraisal of what it would cost to,
All
you know,
right.
put these security measures in place.
He will do that for you during this 3-week stretch also. And
And if he could invoice us what he thinks it will.
go ahead and give me a persuasion check and an insight check, and I will give you advantage on both rolls.
Okay. Here's the insights. And here's a persuasion.
Okay. You know how this guy's wired. He wants to help you. He's got to make money. He's got people to feed. All right. He's not marking you up. He's going to give you slightly better than cost, but he's not messing you over. All right. As a matter of fact, Jennabink's brother helps you with that. All right. You can see him helping you in the discussion, which is part of the reason you got insight. So they think that securing the entire building is going to cost about 600 gold pieces, but that will give you new doors with excellent locks. That'll give you, bars. That'll also make the ladder up and down. It'll also hide it from below. All right, so the ladder retracts up so you can't see it. It looks like ceiling. And it'll also make that bar, that great system above, secure with excellent padlocks. So it'll hide it from below so you don't see it. And it'll, on top of it, also make it so it's really hard to get through. So it makes Jennabink's shop more stable. Do you agree to have that done?
Yeah, I'd want to talk it over about splitting the cost. I mean, if we're going to use this as our place, but yeah, I'll agree to the invoice and then I'll talk about them.
All right.
We'll just agree to it and then I'll talk about it with the group later. You know.
All right. He's making looks to you like he's making about 25% markup. So he's marking it up some, but that's not unreasonable for the work that you're asking him to do. It's pretty specialized. All right, Idris.
Oh, I just have one more thing I want to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody that deals with blast powder, like small explosives?
No, not really. You could route through. Yeah, we don't really have like the equivalent of gunpowder. You're looking for something specifically. What are you looking for? What do you want?
So I want a charge that I can place on the wall of the 4th floor, since there is no entry or exit once the thing is closed, in order to blow out a wall in case of emergency.
What he can do is he can make a panel that from the inside you can just drop 2 bolts, kick it sideways and slide it in, and it looks like it's just roof plate. So he can help you make a secret door on the roof if you want to, and he can do that for you for about 50 gold pieces additionally if you want him to.
Okay, so 650 total. Yeah, I'd agree to that.
Yeah, you were
I don't like the idea of there being no egress into that room once that door is closed.
It was really bad for the guys that were in it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sucked for them.
All right. So anyhow, yeah, he can make a secret door on the roof for you, no problem at all. So
all right, cool.
All right, Idris.
Yeah, I'm getting branded apparently.
So, so very nice room. All right. So I would assume that you and Arwen, the two of you, want to go through this process together, not separately.
Separately.
Separately, okay. So these rooms are not bad rooms. I mean, they're secured, they're locked. You can't get out of them easily. But it's a nice bed. It's a table. There's a fresh sort of water. I mean, they make them halfway decent, right?
Yep.
So that's where you are. And Nostwick, when you come in and you sit down, he just talks you through what you're going through. And one of the things he does is he says, I am sorry for this, but I must test. All right, hold your hand flat on the table.
Oh, I put it out.
All right. And he says, oops, sorry. Chat popped up on the Zoom meeting. All right. All right, he says, this may turn he pokes you with the needle and you jerk your hand back and it stings. He goes, all right. And he's testing reflexes and he does a series of things to tell how far you are along. He says, all right, we must act quickly. Owen is not nearly as far along as you are, Idris, so let us begin. There is minimal risk for you. You just must cooperate. Anytime you feel like the power of the beast may appeal to you, you must choose to reject it. And he coaches you briefly through all of it. And he begins the ritual. It's going to take about a week for you guys to pass through all of it. And he casts a cure disease initially. And then he talks about unwinding the warp to the tree of life that's spun within you, right? So he talks about the corruption from the coop that is inside of you now, because your potential is trapped in a ladder. Is anytime there's shape-shifting magic, it warps and changes the ladder, and he has to fix the ladder. And removing the curse would normally do it, but because of how the coot operates, it's deeper in. And also, he has some concerns for you. Has some concerns about what the long-term effects of that might be. He also reaches and he says, so they tried to bind you as a thrall. As I understand it, they had the lead torque placed around your neck, did they not?
Yes. Multiple medals, I was informed.
Beware. Be aware that means he has marked you in a different way than others. He attempted to make you one of him. That you succeeded in resisting this power is a testament to your strength of will and that of your friends. But be aware that they may be able to sense you and smell you moving forward.
Understood. Is that? Oh, I guess is that some? Is it just because of the egg's powers, or because of the were rat?
Oh, it's the egg. The were rat's powers I can expunge quickly. It's the influence of the egg that perverts even further the magic that's there.
Understood. Okay, go ahead.
Let us begin. Let us expunge his influence. And within these walls, you should be protected from his ability to scry on you. Up until now, he has probably still been able to watch you and track you. But once we have expunged these influences, he will no longer be able to possess you in that same way.
Understood.
All right. So it's a week. All right. Yeah, there are a series of brands, but they heal relatively quickly. It's more like infusions than anything else. And he is committed to you with his assistant through this entire process. And the new kid, Antoine, is pretty intimidated by what he's seeing. Now, we've talked this through. Owen Moreland is like Beyonce, right? So he's treating her, and you're one of the heroes that goes down into Dungeons of Castle Blackmore. This kid's a little bit geeking out, all right? And he's only about a year younger than you, but he sure feels like a lot younger based on the things that you've been through. So they pass through this entire process with you. The week passes.
So while we're doing that week,
You got it.
that's where I'm going to work on all of them at the same time and ask them about the Inquisition, what they do, fighting the egg, that kind of stuff. So while they're working on me, I'm kind of like framing up the questions in the mode of where he's like, oh, well, the egg does this. I'm like, oh, what else did they do? What else should I be aware of? That kind of stuff.
Well, here's what you should consider moving forward. The egg has the ability to take any who is willing and bind him to him as a thrall. That person receives a gift of magic. Their spells become more powerful. They regenerate damage. They can commune with him and with others. Some of his thralls have the ability to share magic. So thralls within the pod may be resting, and another thrall within the pod may pull a spell from that one's mind and cast it. It makes their warlocks and their sorcerers much more challenging to deal with because they have a reservoir of others that work with them. And this is a new development. The other thing that we have seen is we have seen the use of the talks to take creatures that normally we would not consider easy thralls of him. The worst I have seen was a Gorgon, to bind creatures to his will in much the same way. And he talks about domination and charm master effects, and they're familiar to you, but they're not super familiar to you. So he's talking a little bit above your head. But he talks.
I have some of those spells.
Okay, so
Yeah, so I got a somewhat of an idea. Yeah.
So apparently, with the thrall, what he does is he will make those creatures controllable, and he also builds a hierarchy. So let's say he takes and he puts a platinum or a gold torque on somebody at the top of the hierarchy as a thrall. That thrall then has the ability to conduct as a unit in battle everybody below him. All right, and they're not certain exactly what the strength of the network is. They think it's based on the expertise and the ability of the guys that they're dealing with, but the Coot has the ability to take over groups. And one of the big challenges they have that you just forget things. You'll have things that are documented that you just lose. And they found texts that might be from other timelines, might be from other places, and he talks to you about it in different ways than he does everybody else because you've been in the dungeons, that indicate that the Coot is shifting reality around them sometimes, and they don't really know how to come through that. And he's quite frank that in a large part of what he thinks you guys do is help them manage and understand what's going on there. That a large part of the expeditions down in the dungeon are about dealing with that specifically. And the Inquisition for him, and so you are a warlock, you are bound to that sword, yes?
As long as I have it, yes.
So normally warlocks must be purged, and our ability to save them is small. They end up imprisoned or slain quite often. But the Fetch made a case that you should be cherished for who you are and what you have done. That you made a sacrifice of your identity as a noble to take this item and move forward in your quest within the city. And we have seen the sword come before, but you are the first that is bound to it and draws power from it in the same way. So I would say I must watch you closely to make certain that the darkness does not come for you. Do you understand?
Well, I mean, yes, and the darkness is quite powerful, which has got me thinking potentially, like you save Cork and Antoine from Kenville here, or Jackport or Moss, wherever he's from. Why not do the same for a warlock?
It's the sorcerer has an innate ability to use magic, and it's a matter of providing focus for them.
I'm not talking about becoming an arcane warrior or anything. I'm talking simply as eyes and ears underneath your organization, underneath its protection.
These things are possible. So we have many, many different sorts of agents who perform many, many different sorts of functions. So speak candid. What do you have in mind, Idris?
Everybody knows I'm there. Everybody knows I'm an idiot, and they speak freely most of the time. And if they don't, I'm able to pry things out of them when I can with my social graces. Information seems to be the currency in your department, my friend. And information is what I need to defeat these creatures. So something along those lines might be beneficial to both of us.
You would surrender your connections to your family and swear fealty to the Cabal, because that's what this means. You'd also, you are a paladin of Hirsch, and Hirsch does not have the same level of structure and depth, let's say, as Odir or Sakwin or Encelagath. But at the same time, you are one with a god. You are willing to bind yourself to the will of the Cabal and lose some of the freedoms that come with your oath to Hirsch?
Well, my oath to Hirsch says I must work to change others' luck. And those who are taken over by the Egg of Kut may not have the same resiliency as me, as evidenced by those poor children who were charred above me at the compound. So understanding how to help them helps me in my own oath. I don't think of them as divergent and competing agendas, but more three rolled into one, each supporting each other. A chair with three legs shouldn't stand, but it does, as long as you know how to balance.
I understand what you say. I understand what you say. I would say what is key for you then is recognizing the priority that must be for you. If you sincerely desire to have a role within the Cabal, your first choice must be the Cabal. Is that clear?
I would assume it's like that now since you're watching me. And any mistake I make could be my last.
Well, that's true, but if you are given secrets that you're privy to and you break that confidence, there would be an impact for me if I were to function as your sponsor in this process. But for everyone who stood near you, there would be consequence too. Delbert and I, if you were sincere in your desire to support the Cabal in some way, would, I have no doubt, sponsor you into some role within our organization. But if you break from us in the Cabal, there are consequences for the people that support you, and I would argue love you in some way. You understand the import of what you choose?
I do. And as part of that, I would tell you something that had happened while I was in the throes of that ritual. The egg and his agents came to me in the guise of my father and my brothers, and attempted to tell me that I had failed in their plans, that I had gotten myself captured by the egg and not gone through them, sort of circumvented their channels. I don't know if this is true, whether or not it's a lie, but it may be an avenue of investigation you may want to look into.
There is no may in this. This is an absolute necessity. What we'll do is, as you were here in the city, I wish Cork were here. As you are here in the city, the Inquisition will go. I will alert my peer in Bromweld and the High Inquisitor himself, and this will be handled by us. You need not concern yourself with what happens next. We will address. Idris, believe it or not, you have just invoked formal inquisition against your father.
You have to be sure. You got to pull it all out if it's bad.
We will explore this. I will share with you what I can. And we will see what is next for you on the other side. Does this seem fair?
Yes.
All right. Do you need to make a deception check for any part of this, or are you being sincere?
Sincere.
Okay.
Because in the idea of, well, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and I'm still third in line, and I just piss him off, and he cuts me off.
All
So
right.
I'm fine. But if it turns out it's the other way,
And you're willing to fully commit to the Cabal and not hold back, right? There's no deception there. Okay.
No, not for that. Yeah,
All right. Cool.
because if you're already one step away from it, you might as well embrace it instead of running away from it and
Give me,
wrap yourself in it.
give me an insight check. Give me a persuasion check.
Oh yeah, we love those insight checks because they're so amazing.
He's a really good wizard.
Who? Oh, Naswick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Nice guy.
Where's this? I'm gonna throw a d6 after this other one.
And you make an absolutely exquisite case for why you should be a member of the Cabal. He bought in.
Cool. Oh.
Yeah, he bought in. Your total roll was 29 because you rolled a 1 on your hero point. But
Oh, so I rolled a 20 and a 1. Yeah, that sounds about bouncing out the luck there.
That's right. But he is completely, and he's like, okay, his attitude towards you is completely changed. All right. All right. What we're going to do when I get back is you guys can have your sort of mid downtime discussion. And then we're going to probably we're going to take our 10-minute break. It's 4:42 now. We'll be back about 4:52 if that works for everybody out in the stream. Thank you so much. And when we get back, we're going to work through very, very quickly the last few things we want to do in the city and set the stage for our players' return into the dungeons of Castle Blackmore. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sponsoring our stream and enjoying what we do. And we'll see you again here in about 10 minutes. Talk to you soon.
At 2, Idris. At 2.
Hey, folks, we are back. Welcome to the Dungeons of Castle Blackmore. And we're going to step right back into what we were doing. Next thing we're going to kind of do is players are gathered table, come back in, or maybe on the second floor of the bulwark around the kitchen table up there, and talking about what the last 3 weeks had just happened in the last 3 weeks. So, Penny, why don't you talk to everyone about the research you did on security for the bulwark?
Oh, like the characters or the people?
However you guys want to handle it. You can be in character or out. It's up to you at this point.
I guess when Idris gets back, I'll show him and Delbert the newly added security measures that were put into place. So over here, you can see the new bars that were put into place here. We got the trap door down in Jenna's workshop. Just be very quiet as we're walking through here. She gets easily distracted and then yells at us. So you see this here.
As we walk by her, I'll just kind of point over there and prestidigitate, clean her up a bit. She probably has.
There's a trap wire
much of
here. Just be careful not to trigger this trap wire if you are entering the sewers. You will see here I made an etching next to the sewers. It's got like a general layout of where there's entrances and exits once you go down in there. The closest one will be immediately out to your left, and then you'll see like some mossy area covering it up into like a little area. That'll take you into the building next door. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's a little secret entrance weird thing that I don't really know who built it. It's kind of weird. It takes you there and up through a chimney and out onto the roof. But if we need to exit here in a hurry, that's another good way of getting out of here.
Good to know.
There's bars now in all the windows, and these locks should be pretty good. They're gnomish built, so they're like real fine quality and stuff. Upstairs, the ladder, it can retract into the roof, into the floor, so you can seal off that area. But if you do need to escape, now there's a secret door that you can slide down the metal pots and then get out through the roof over there, too.
Are the traps on the ladder still there?
That was another ladder, I think you're thinking of, but there's a trap once they get up the ladder and immediately out into Jenna's workshop. That's a tripwire trap that I installed myself. But I think the traps you're referring to were into the warehouse that I could probably try and get something like that set up on this ladder if we really wanted to.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Gosh, it might not be a bad idea. If anybody in the city needs this kind of security, it's probably us at this point.
Now there may be some magical stuff that you and Jennabank want to like add on here, like some arcane science or magical wards or something to make it even more secure, but that's beyond my capabilities.
Yes, let's definitely do that.
So Jessup has been hanging out a lot, and Alwyn is back with Idris, all right? So they just have been... Idris, unless you don't want her around, Alwyn's hanging out with you unless she's working.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm just sitting here trying to learn my Kumasti from the sword lady.
Jessup is ecstatic about the work Jennabank does and wants to talk to you all about it. And it's more linear than Jennabank normally is. Right?
I think I'll probably find that refreshing having Jennabank speak, droid speak, translated into everyday, normal, magical discussion.
So we're listening to the protocol droid now?
Well, you're going from Gnome Stream of Consciousness data dump, which you've all dealt with, and all the gnomes seem to do it, to a human translation of same. All right, but the thing that comes across from Jessup is amazed and completely respectful of Jennabank's skill set. She is stunned by how efficiently she handled it. All right, and is just... So, basically she reverse engineered these bronze golems and came up with a new device, blah, 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 blah. So, and...
and so it shoots fire from its mouth.
So,
That's us.
If you think that's amazing, you should hear what her brother told me about her, too. Man, she's got some great childhood stories.
Like how she got her hand trapped in the gearbox and wouldn't let go. And that's how she was stuck there for 3 days.
No, well, apparently, when she was a kid, she was convinced she hated broccoli, that she despised it. And then when she tried it, she actually loved it, and she ate it so much that her poop turned green.
I bet she thought that was arcane science.
Everybody give me an insight check.
This one should be at advantage. I mean, we know what's about to happen.
Assuming that I'm in my workshop for this, so
Now, this is on Jessup.
okay.
At an early point in this,
All right. So, Penny, give me an insight check. Jenna, give me an insight check.
Side.
All right. Penny, Jessup really wouldn't mind running your shop for you. You're fairly certain. She's been hitting it, all right? She's also been hitting on Delbert, and he's kind of oblivious and might not realize the level of affection that's in play here.
You know, Jessup, I think if you spent more time in this shop in like a professional manner, that you could definitely help run this place in a successful way. You know, I don't know how much money we could offer you, but I think maybe the company and the knowledge you could gain from these two brilliant minds at the pinnacle of Blackmorian society could be, you know, payment enough for right now until we can work something out on your free time, you know.
She says, I think I've talked in a preliminary manner to the fetch, and he is willing to release me into other employment as long as I maintain my other duties for him. And it occurs to me that operating a retail establishment while I act as his broker might be an outstanding placement and opportunity for me. So I would very, very, very much want to do that. And we handle this out of character. The wage for her would be covered out of normal running of the shop and just be hand waved unless you guys were trying to make profit off of it. All right. So that's kind of where you are. So she's very, very eager to do it. So, and she says, may I point something out to you, woman to woman?
You're talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Delbert, does he realize that, I don't think he realizes the interest that I have. He's so polite and he's so gentlemanly and he's so, I just don't know how to get him to move forward in the natural progression of our relationship.
Well, he's like one of those really smart people that gets all into his studies and then forgets there's like a whole nother world outside of his book and like writing stuff down in weird dead languages and throwing arcane energies places. So you got to be a little bit more forward with him, I think. Like normally when I need Delbert to do something, I just tell him, hey, you with the big brain, like go over there and do that. And he's usually pretty good about acquiescing to my requests, if you know what I mean.
All right. All right. You know him best. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to be real direct with that one. He's doesn't really understand the whole subterfuge and intricacies involved in all that. He's been very sheltered, I think, by his family.
All right. Thank you. Cut to Delbert working on scribing a scroll and Jessup bringing him tea.
Oh, thank you.
Delbert, I'm just going to be frank with you, and I want you to understand where I am. I know you're a noble and I'm a commoner, but I want you to understand that I'm I'm a maiden, and I have been chaste because that's kind of my duty. But I would be willing to wait for you if you thought there was any way, shape, or form that you and I could build a more formal life together. I mean, you've given me sort of a gift, and I thought it might be courtship beginning, and then you've chosen to focus on your studies, which I respect. You carry a tremendous amount of responsibilities, both for Blackmore and for your family, but I want you to know that I respect you, and if you wanted something more formal with me, if you ever thought you could be engaged to or marry a commoner, I would be more than willing to do this. And it feels so awkward me saying this to you, but I feel like I should, because there's so many things unsaid between the two of us.
I can't think of anyone whose company I enjoy more. Yes, let's push forward. We'll see where it goes.
She puts her hands on your hand and just smiles and says, all we have to do is make certain your mother doesn't kill you.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So I'm going to assume then that you're going to be working towards proposing to her formally and getting your family to buy into that. Is that a fair assessment?
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
So
I just want to
that
point
will involve inviting her over to the family house for dinner at least a couple times.
Watch out for those eggs.
It would.
So
It would. We will sort of plant that flag and work through it as we move forward. But
okay.
And she's chaste. All right. She's a worshiper of Odir. She is not going to.
And apparently Saquin.
And Saquin, yes. So she's really into the pantheon, but she's not going to have sex with you until you're married. But you're a virgin too, right? So at least I'm assuming that. So that's not unusual for you guys, given the level of faith that you have, right? And if I'm wrong about that, let me know. That was just one of the assumptions I made about your character.
I made that assumption too.
All right. So this is very much, it's got some Pride and Prejudice style courtship feeling to you in terms of the level of discussion you're having. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent. All right. So then, you guys you had sort of a shopping list of magic items you wanted to try and acquire. Delbert, you're scribing scrolls, right? Go ahead.
I am.
Okay.
Pretty early on in this process. Hey, Jinnabink.
What?
Watch this. And I'll cast a spell. And a patch of air in your shop starts flickering and waving as if it were extremely hot.
Wait. What did you do? I have to calculate this in my variables for my experience. That's still it, Delbert. You can't just. What was that?
Watch this. And I'll pick up a piece of iron, something that she has laying around.
Mm-hmm.
Is this okay?
Yeah. Okay. That's scrap. Okay.
And I'll stick the piece of scrap in there, and it will slowly get red hot as if it were in a forge.
Okay. That's very. So you're isolating the thermodynamic properties of what exactly? So there's energy involved there. So and based on the reaction of that metal, that means that you've increased the ambient temperature by about 15,000 degrees Celsius. And so what is the name of that spell?
This is magic.
Watch
this, and I'll stick my hand in there.
I'm assuming that your hand is fine.
My hand is fine. Yes.
Yeah. So clear.
It's perfectly safe.
Most arcane practitioners of the wizard variety like to give spells fun names. So is that Delbert's dancing delirial heat. I mean,
Well, I was just thinking, Airforge, but that sounds fine too. We can name it after me. That's fine.
okay. I don't name things well, or at least this is what Penny has told me. But regardless, that's cool. I might be able to use that on occasion down here when my furnace is not sufficient for what I need.
Based on your conversation, Jen, you can go into the chat on Fantasy Grounds and pull up the spell. So Delbert describes its use and function to you. The spell will be available on the Artificer spell list for you at some point if you want it.
So
Very possible.
I really wasn't intending for you to use it in your shop. I was really intending for you to use it in the field when you needed to heat something in the field.
Oh.
That way you don't have to carry your shop with you.
Oh, well, that's
Just saying.
that would be excellent. I hadn't thought about the implications and properties of that therein, but certainly I may take that under advisement when I have reached a point at which to further research that and determine how to incorporate that with my tinkerer's tools.
Idris runs back and forth through the section where they melted the stuff. Like, there's nothing hot here. I don't know what you're talking about.
So thank you. I think this is where thank you is appropriate.
So Jessup
You're
goes.
welcome, but no thanks is required.
Jessup goes. Yes, Jennabank. That's appropriate. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jessup. See, you're an excellent assistant, Jessup, or co-author. How do you want me to refer to you?
Most divine one.
No. No, I've read your credentials, and most of mine one is not one that you've earned. So please provide me with a credential or a matter of address that you have earned on your CV.
She goes, well, much to my shame, I am simply Jessup of Swampy Bottom. And I prefer to go by Jessup of the University of Blackmore.
Yes, okay.
Gonna need to work on those depends.
Yeah, I think Swampy Bottom is probably not the best thing to go by, especially if you're trying to impress Delbert's mom.
Yes, I have not mentioned it until now for very obvious reasons. So, and you guys know Swampy Bottom is actually a place in Blackmore. So,
Boggy Bottom, Swampy Bottom.
oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I only pay attention to the good cities. Of Blackmore.
All right.
Delbert, can you do me a favor? Can you do your ritual thing and do that thing where you look for magic stuff?
Sure. And I'll do that.
I can also do that.
Can you? All right, you can both do that.
I will detect magic.
Anything
I'll
you
hold
can
out
do.
my horn of silent alarm. Does this look magical to you?
Yes,
Does
that does. It in fact has magical auras on it. Yes.
I'll put it inside the box. Close the box. Does it still look magic to you?
Well, I mean, the box does not look magic, and I don't detect the magic in the box. Although I do detect that my brother's insignia is on that box. Did you see Fizzwig?
I did happen to see Fizzwig. That's where I heard the story about the broccoli.
What story about the broccoli?
Don't worry about it.
Fitzwig is the family idiot, and as lovable as he is, just remember that he's dumb.
But profitable.
He seemed very knowledgeable about the subjects I needed to talk to him about.
But what was that?
He gave me some very lovely stories, Jenna. You're very well loved in that family. There's a lot of stuff they talk about.
Well, yes, I earned their love through my hard work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all the green stuff that comes in and out of you.
Oh, he told him the poo story with broccoli.
That was a very long time ago, and I don't understand the amusement factor behind that. I just there are no books that describe that kind of quantity. So I was doing caloric and nutritional research.
I'm sure it was very good for you, very healthy, kept you very regular.
Caloric or colonic?
Both, I suppose. I mean, if you really want to be specific about it.
So,
Cleanse in your colon.
is there any specific spell scribing that we will be doing or magic items we want to purchase?
I want to try to construct the goggles of Coot stuff.
You got it. Let's step right into that. So, all right. So, really, the thing you have to do is you have to research egg possession history to kind of confirm your theory. You've done some work on that already. And related to that, you're going to have to research enchantment charm effects. This will be a straight Arcana check with a +6.
Do I get advantage because is the +6 because of Jessup helping me?
No, the +6 is because of research, using the library to research, and this is something you're physically out of the building doing. All right,
Okay.
so that's using the library.
Okay.
Jessup can give you... Yeah, Jessup can give you advantage on this roll because there's two of you working the libraries together, and she's a student there also. And she's a wizard, so go for it. Okay. You guys... Yeah, so it takes you about a week, but you're able to work through the possession history, and your theory is confirmed, all right? Almost every instance of possession involves the emanation of blue light of some sort, all right, from a source. So that source seems to be related to it. You can't necessarily tell if it's a side effect of the magic or a direct influence. You don't know if it's the beam that carries the infection, right? Or if it's just what happens when that spell's cast. You also
Sure.
are able to do a bunch of research on charm effects. So you research charm person, charm monster, domination, all those spells, and basically you're reading, the spell book of definitive lectures on charm person, things like that. So you work through that. That takes about a week. You are going to
I would
research.
imagine at some point I actually, when researching the dominate spell effect, I do some, I accidentally side research something, like when you put in certain terms in Google, and Jessup has to explain things to me in great detail. So that probably puts a pause on things briefly.
So yeah, you guys have some really effective back and forth going when it comes to that. So you really now feel like you need to research possession, the demonic possession, Coots from the past. So you're going to dive right into what happens to the subject during possession, and that you think that might tie back to a couple other things, but you've got to do more research. So go ahead and roll.
Another Arcana?
Yep. Okay, so you're clear on possessions. You understand how possession works. And this isn't quite a charm. This is a physical possession. It's related to like a dominate person, but he is in their body and he is using their mind, using their eyes. That's what he does. All right. So it's almost like he can step in and be another entity. So they are in effect charm, but then at the same time, he can just take over the personality and the body, and there's records of him doing it a lot. And one of the things that happens at people that go into the Coots lands is when they come back in, they're marked, and they've lost everything. And you have every reason to believe that they're possessed in some way, shape, or form. And then there's some temporal theory that's timed around it also. All right, where do they go when he takes over them? Does he subvert their personality or strip it out? There's evidence that the person goes someplace else. And sometimes when somebody comes back, they're not the same person at all. They've been changed. The other thing that you get from this is there's a specific type of focus for enchantment charm spells that also emanates blue light, and you're wondering if there's some sort of connection to that. All right, so you have a little bit more work to do. You think you need to do some research on lensing, and then you have to really start to work on a crafting formula. What you think you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with a list of components, and you're going to have the ability to give people advantage on saves against those spell effects of his. Basically, any enchantment charm spell effect, and specifically stuff from the Coot. So you'll be able to give people a broad-based defense against that particular type of spell. Basically, magic resistance to that. Now,
Cool.
You also think, if you're successful in your next series of rolls, that you're going to be able to create something that does not require attunement, right? So this is going to be a physical device that you can wear that doesn't require investment. The risk, of course, is that they are going to be relatively fragile, and if somebody is assaulted inappropriately, it could crack the lensing.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
so they're not going to be totally bulletproof. There's a risk of them being damaged and broken. But go ahead and make one more roll, maybe 2 or 3. But
Maybe
I'm
2 or
gonna
3.
throw hero. I'm gonna throw hero points on this roll.
okay, go ahead.
So there's the roll, and there's the hero point.
Total roll of 38. You got it. All right. So it takes you 3 weeks to research this and figure out exactly what it's going to do. You are going to need. There's been a whole bunch of different crystals that you saw down in the dungeons of Castle Blackmore, right? You think that there is probably a specific type of crystal that the Coot is using to project his power. All right. You think there seems to be to you a connection between the Coot and the dungeons. You're almost convinced of it now. All right. Based on how possessions work, the different marks and stuff that you saw, there's some sort of interconnection here. So you think you're going to have to go down into the dungeons and extract this bluish crystal that is down there. And you've seen reddish crystal, you've seen greenish crystal, but some of the research that you've done indicates that that's the case. All right. You're also going to need some powdered gems, which you can just purchase on the market. You're going to need to make an alloy that's going to be. It's kind of a pewter base, but it's not. What's going to happen is you have to have a metal that will, expand when the lenses are resisting the impact. It actually causes the lenses to pick up mass. So there's a very specific sort of alloy you're going to have to make for a lens for the glasses, and finally, you need to come up with some strapping, but you think any good leather will do in terms of coming up with the right sort of binding material. But the hard thing is going to be developing an alloy, and you need to figure out exactly the right metal. But you think you've got that for the most part, and they're going to do that as you're putting it together, and then also Idris, you may have inspiration.
Thank you.
All right. And so you can do it now. You're pretty certain you've got the recipe. You just have to find the materials, and there's going to be a cost associated with it too.
Okay. I will. The day that I finish that research, I will burst onto the kitchen floor and look for whoever's in the house.
Okay. Jessup is kind of taken up residence now. Fletcher has released her, so your folks are there.
We need to go back down to the dungeons, people.
Who died and made you the queen of the Western?
That is not on my CV. I am not queen of anything. But as I've explained to Jessup before, you can't just make up titles for yourself. Regardless, I did discover that I can make the goggles. The goggles will work, and you can have resistance from the Coot. But I need crystals that are blue ones, not the green ones that Idris touched, but blue ones that are somewhere down in the dungeons, and then I can make the lenses. Is no one else excited about this?
I turned to Jessup and I'm like, could you translate that for us?
She needs components to build the goggles that can only be found down in the dungeon. She has managed to figure out how to craft a magic item, and she's pretty excited about it, but the material components have to be secured by going back down to Dungeons of Castle Blackmore. Was that effective translation, Jetta Bink?
I said that.
I turned to
you
Penny
did.
and
I
I'm
know
like,
it.
Could
I
you
know
tell
it.
me what they're talking about?
Listen, gentlemen, if you need some blue crystals, I know this Walter guy. I think his last name's White, but he's got these blue crystals he can give you too.
No, they have to be the Dungeons of Blackmore crystals, just like the ones that tried to suck Idris's soul. But these probably won't suck your soul. They might try to possess you, but we'll carefully extract them, and then I can make the lenses.
Are you sure we're not talking about the same blue crystal? Because this guy's blue crystals, I've seen it possess people before too.
I don't know of this Walter person.
Jessup says, no, Penny, these you don't have to do up in lines.
Oh, okay. All right.
It looks like Delbert's already wearing a pair, so why don't we just take his?
Wow.
Boom.
Can you translate for me? I don't know what's going on.
You just got Deadpooled.
All right. So Jetabank communicates to you that it's time. She's got it. In that 3 weeks where she was doing research, excellent role playing, by the way, Jetabank. Give yourself inspiration. All right. In that 3 week period of time, what were you guys attempting to do?
Probably going to the Castle Blackmore. We've been 3 weeks in Castle Blackmore. At this
We're gonna
point in
leave
time.
her up here. We're gonna go in there. That's classy. Well played.
Yeah, you kind of have to go together. But Delbert, you scribing any scrolls specifically? Have you worked out your list and the cost for everybody?
So I am scribing scrolls in pairs so that I sell one and use the profits from it, the
That's
sell
smart.
cost from it to cover the other.
Cool.
And what I ended up with in 3 weeks is an acid wind scroll, a detect thought scroll, an ice knife, a levitate, and a sleep.
Excellent. Very good. All right. Now,
And we're calling those spell gems.
yes.
Yes.
So we have, let's see, out there for you. Jessup says if you want to, there is a potion of greater healing, a potion of diminution, a potion of supreme healing, and a potion of storm giant strength. The storm giant strength potion is ridiculously expensive, however. Potion of supreme healing is also ridiculously expensive.
There's no like prominent stuff from the Wizard's Cabal.
No, I didn't get lucky. I mean, I went and I searched stuff, and there's just not a lot on the market right now. I mean, let me see what I can do. Let me take another run at it just to see if there's anything else. But at least 3 weeks ago, that was everything that was that was available. All right. Let me check again here. Give me a second. All right. Let's see. Well, another dang potion of supreme healing. That thing never moved, man. Nobody can afford that. That's unfortunate. Somebody else roll a d20 and add 5 to it. All right, so yeah, that potion of diminution never moved either. Man, that's kind of tough. All right.
Tad needs a new algorithm.
Right?
There's some oil of sharpness out there if you want that, though.
I know what this is turning into.
All right. And ta-da-da.
Cool it with the potions.
It's just what's coming up. Oh, that's better.
Like, this is a potion you can afford.
Okay, there's a Sunblade.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Can't afford it, but
Yeah.
Probably the cost of like a small empire, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
see, come on, not legendary.
It's not super bad. I would say it's 5,000 gold pieces.
I could put a down payment on it.
Yeah. So,
Can I trade my elf blade for it?
um,
Oh, I have pangs of regret, don't I?
yes,
Conscious-
yes, yep.
Delbert needs a sunblade.
And
Just poke your eye out.
and your moon blade suddenly doesn't glow.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's rare. I think I have no money.
Yeah. So, All right, so there's really nothing that's available. And the thing is with common and uncommon potions and scrolls, you can just get those from the Cabal anyhow. Is there any specific shopping you guys want to do?
Yep. I'm going to specifically shop for Slippers with Spider Climb. I'm going to try and find it.
They are currently not available. You want to see if you can get them commissioned?
Yep. I will take a Publix ticket and get in the queue, like at the deli, and see how long that takes.
All right. The Nostwick will reach out and try and see if we can get that approved for you for construction. All right.
Right.
So you would say that he thinks that there's a fair chance they could get that done for you. He thinks that there's a fair chance that can get done.
Cool.
During the 3 weeks, Dad, I would like to take these two fine nobles and see if we can provide our services from the company by offering to provide security services for other nobles' houses where we go through and examine their weaknesses and offer to provide them additional security and where they can fix said weaknesses in their manners and such.
All right. So we will need one persuasion check and then one deception check.
Deception? Why are we deceiving people?
How many people are we how long are we talking to these people? Is it like-
Penny, if you don't make a deception check, I will never let you sell the information about the security of the house, nor will I ever let you use the information you have as a mechanism to breaking into it more easily.
I will never break into their houses as long as they agree to pay our service fee.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to step back on that one. That sounds like a tenant violation there. I'm going to back that up.
No, it's like Brink Security, where they get a little sign in front of their house that says Bulwark Security.
All right, we're just going to call this normal business. This is not fencing stolen goods. So Idris, go ahead and give me a persuasion check here.
All right, man, can I punch my divine power on them?
What is your divine power? Just remind me.
I get a minute working my deception and perception up against 5 people with advantage.
Yeah, that would be closing the deal. I'll let you do that.
All right, cool. Let me go over to my ridiculous looking button. Channel Divinity. Bam, there we go. All right, you want a deception and a...
Just a deception.
Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, it didn't roll twice because I rolled athletics. That makes more sense.
Whoops.
That's why you need security.
All right. Oh, yeah. You guys find business. You're able to achieve your target there. What that will do is instead of just breaking even, you guys are going to be able to pull down an extra 100 gold pieces during that period of time. So you go in, and they're paying you the equivalent of $1,000 to come in and do a full security consult.
Oh,
I'll happily do that and go through. And I'm sure Delbert can bring up the magical implications, what type of security measures they can take, and I'll talk about the more mundane things they can do to improve their security in the household.
All right. What I will do is I'm just going to drop 100 gold pieces into your party sheet, and I will give you the specific house that you worked with during that period of time, so you guys have
Galen.
that.
And then not only that,
Frida Galen don't need help. So
that's what they say until they get, poisoned to death,
I mean, I haven't been poisoned in any other nobles' houses besides Frida Galen's. So
Oh, there it is.
all right. So we have crafted any potions or scrolls that you guys want to buy that are just potions and scrolls. Delbert can get you anything common or uncommon. So that's 3rd level and less scrolls and any common or uncommon potion.
Can he get me some Spirit Guardians?
That's a 3rd level scroll. Can anybody cast that?
Well, it's a scroll, right? Can't we read it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how scrolls work. I haven't had to use them.
Do you have it on your spell list?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
It just got added via Tasha's, so
So yeah, you got to make a spell check because it's higher level than you. But
okay.
yeah, he could get that for you.
All right, cool.
So hold it. That's not an arcane spell though, is it? It's a cleric spell.
Yeah.
Okay, so no.
That's okay.
You can, yeah, and it didn't come up. It didn't come up for sale. Okay, he can do that with any arcane spell. I'm sorry, and any common or uncommon potion. So,
Alrighty.
Mm,
all right. So I don't want to spend a ton of time here. All right. The potions that are available are climbing and healing.
Mm.
And uncommon would be oil of slipperiness, filter of love, and then the resistance potions. All right.
Oh, okay. How much is a potion of climbing?
A potion of climbing is only 50 gold pieces.
Psh, let me get 2 of those. If they
All
got
right.
'em.
I will drop them up in,
The thing? Yeah, no problem.
yeah.
I mean, it's a dungeon, right? You could go down. We've seen holes in there. Oh, can you set the ID status on them?
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
I was doing that as you spoke. All right. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Potion of climbing. You never know.
All right. You got the resistance things like psychic, poison, thunder resistance, water breathing, growth, hill giant strength, greater healing, animal friendship, and then all the resistance. You can also get a potion of fire breath in there. Those are the potions that are easily available to you through your connections in the Cabal, primarily Delbert at this point. So, going once.
I'm good here.
yeah.
All right. Everything in there, the number is between 100 and 500 gold pieces. They are temporary items, so I would call it 1/5. Let's see.
You said oil of slipperiness?
There is an oil of slipperiness available. Yeah, there's oil of slipperiness. Absolutely.
Sorry, give me that one too. I'll take one of those.
All right, that's 250.
I will gladly pay the 250. I was just having to look down my list of what they do.
All right. Potion of Hill Giant Strength and a bunch of resistance.
All right. Yep. Okay, I'm good.
How much is the potion of hill giant strength?
Potion of Hill Giant Strength. That's going to be a 250. Gives you strength. Gives you strength of 21 for 1 hour.
Yeah, man. +5 on dagger shanking.
I'm going to take that.
All right.
You never know when you need to lift something heavy
Or haul your treasure out.
or haul your treasure out.
That was like, these doors are made of platinum. You're like, take them off the wall.
Or turn Jettabink into an absolute death machine.
If we pour the
On catapult? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
if we pour it on top of catapult, does that turn him into one of those mule robots from
We put it in his engine.
DARPA?
No.
It's like super premium unleaded.
All right. So going once, going twice. Anything else? Jettabink, are there any scrolls that arcane focus scrolls that you want Delbert to purchase for you?
No, because I am confident in my own abilities, and none of them can make catapult better. So I'm good.
Okay, very good. So you guys you buy the items you need, you do some business with the bulwark, you do your first security consultation. Jettabink is able to do an effective modification of catapult, and believes she's going to be able to craft an item that will give you de facto resistance against the Coots, charm, spells, and possession. So she's researched that. So you're all feeling that that's absolutely totally possible moving forward. Jessup has set herself up in the business. She is working. You could have Delbert. We're gonna hand wave this one a little bit, but I'm assuming before you guys go back down into the dungeon, you're going to have at least one dinner with your parents with Jessup present, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Several, if I can manage it.
Okay, so she's just going to start showing up to dinner with you, and you're not really going to foreground it with mom, right?
Right.
Okay. You just want them getting used to the idea that she's with you all the time.
Correct.
All right. Very good. Very good.
And I asked Jenna if we can make these glasses in memory of the first person ever enthralled by the Egg of Coot, Corey Hart.
I'd like a
Because
rope
he-
trick scroll.
Go for it. Pay for it. I will
Okay.
drop it in.
At the normal cost?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was really bad. B.
But you got it.
Yeah.
And you know we're going to be wearing them at night.
Yeah.
That I am going to put a word out on the street, by the way, that if anybody attempts to break into any house or business protected by the bulwark, that I will hunt them down and kill them.
Subtle yet effective.
Blackie and Catfoot are more than willing to help you spreading that message.
Okay.
All right. As a matter of fact, they consider it one of the components, and this is just a cultural thing. One of the components of Decry culture is marking a house as protected by a specific clan. All right. So whatever clan symbol you choose for yourself, you can mark on the house. And any Decry that see it, no, don't fuck with this or they're fucking with you.
Mhm.
All right. And that could happen. All right. I'm going to need you to make, I'm going to handle that offline through your contacts. All right.
Okay.
You and I will talk about that separately. All right. Delbert,
Fair.
we will end up having, while you're in the dungeon, some meals with your family flashbacks. All right.
Okay.
That we're benchmarking here. Okay. Likewise, Jenna Bink, your mom and dad have stopped in multiple times while you've been in here. All right. To see you, and your brother stopped in to tell you to see Penny and see you and check on how your house is. So there's been sort of a gnomish housewarming going on where people show up with food, they show up with wind-up toys, they show up with handy kitchen gadgets, things like that. So we're going to have those sort of placed as benchmarks. Idris, likewise, you're going to have some flashback episodes where we're dealing specifically with you and Alwyn. All right. So I want you all to know that there's been a lot of role playing going on here that we're going to benchmark to drop in at appropriate times down in the dungeon. So we have that sort of as context for our characters in the background. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So is it time to go to the fetch and talk to the fetch about descending?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and see if he can roll on a permanent magic item table too. when
Yeah.
he
Let's
descends.
get Mr. Jazz Hands in here.
Yeah, man, I kept laying it on C and D and E and hitting potions. It was like, well, that's not too exciting. So, all right.
If there was any way to swing that
Sun
sun
Sword?
sword, I would definitely go for that. But
It's called layaway.
yeah, lay away.
Have your daddy buy it, and then you pay him back in installments.
Daddy just financed a business, so no.
Boom! You used the shit at the wrong time.
I know, right?
All right.
Sacrificing for you, Penny. Sacrifice.
So, go to the University of Blackmore. Go see the fetch. All right. Easy get an appointment. He's ready for you. So I guess it's time to go back in. Is it? Is that what we're ready for?
Yes, I discovered that I need some material components that can only be acquired through the dungeon.
Well done.
Yes, we intend to go back in as soon as possible.
Yes.
I will fully support you in this, you know. And I will reach out to the gatekeeper and the king and secure the sigil so you can pass within and pass without.
So, are we in the right multiverse verse, or are we in the wrong verse right now?
We are in the right verse.
So, yeah, that's a complex question because you are the verse. It seems to coalesce around you.
Okay, so
right.
before we go into the dungeon in my apartment, I assume it's got like a stone foundation or something, right?
Mhm.
underneath the bed. I'm gonna like move the bed out of the way. I'm gonna get like some chisel stuff, and I'm gonna just chisel in 616, and then I'm gonna go into the dungeon when we go in.
Your apartment is locked, and the landlady tells you your stuff's been cleaned out.
These Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna go. Where's the Blackmore map? I'm gonna go on the Blackmore map. I'm pretty sure there's boulders around here somewhere, right? We've got weeks. I'm gonna find a big rock, and I'm gonna just. Idris was here. 616.
There's actually in the tube that runs up between the sewer and the
In the shop.
in the shop, yeah, because that's now camouflaged. There's a secret door down at the bottom of it, and the ladder drops down. That tube you could mark.
There we go. Yeah, that's all I'll do.
Okay, and you haven't had any communication from your family. You do know, now that you think about it, that no money has showed up, and they haven't asked you to do anything.
Free at last. Free at last. Thank Hirsch. I'm free at last.
You're now homeless.
I'm just gonna be sleeping in the basement down in the workshop near that warm air forge thing.
Oh, Genevieve is for sure kicking you out.
I'm gonna ring that bell every time I'm down there.
So is this
housekeeping.
episode Idris gets cut off?
The
If he
gang
shares
gets
that with
evicted.
you. If he shares that with you, I mean, he's got to share that with you, but
Oh yeah, I've totally moved out of my flat. I'm like, yo, weren't there beds in this place?
yeah,
I got a key. Yeah, they're like, why are you always here, Idris?
So, to fetch, let's put some structure around your thinking before you descend. Let's think this through then. What have we learned so far about what it is to be in the dungeons?
When you leave, you got to think it through of where you want to be and morph it to what you want, and that'll be your reality.
So, reality is malleable and it's formed around you as you were agents of Blackmore in this. We believe that is true, do we not?
Yes,
We do.
Maybe I'll come back to a reality where I have my apartment.
All right. We also know that when you come to the surface, when you come to see me, things may be out of sync, correct?
Out of sync and out of time.
Aye. So, and we've been able to pass through that effectively. So, when you return, be prepared to make an adjustment with me, an adjustment with Jessup, adjustment with your family. Be aware that that difference is there, and it's a profound one and a challenging one for all of us. Are we aware of that?
Yep.
Walk me through your plan.
Go for it, Delbert. Smartest one here.
To make an adjustment, you mean?
Know the plan.
When you return,
Oh,
how will you alert me? How will you make certain that we know who you are and bring us into alignment with the reality if things have shifted? Because I think we believe the Coot works against you when you are below, correct?
I mean, we're not all just going to drink Idris's blood again.
As charming as that was, I don't know if that will be the same solution it was again.
I mean, certainly we should try to replicate the experiment in order to, ensure the variables remain the same. But if that doesn't work, we should have a plan B.
Were rats.
Might I make some suggestions?
please do.
I would come to me directly and test as you did last time. If I remember correctly, the disjunction was, and he rubs his forehead, the disjunction was the were rats, wasn't it? That I did
It
not
was.
we believe, but you did. So I would test what my knowledge is. So let's begin with that. See if things are in sync and do what you have to do to bring me back in. Just being aware that the process can be very traumatic for me or anybody that you realign.
Is there a newspaper from here?
Not necessarily a newspaper, dated material, because they use criers. Paper's very expensive. Bards tell a lot of bards do a lot of the news stuff. You're looking for something that's in effect time-stamped, right?
Time-stamped and basically just the last week of current events.
Well, what they do is you could have him write down everything that happened in his recollection, date it, and then do a wax seal and seal it with his signet ring, because he's a chair of a department, so he has his department sigil.
Before, can you do that?
Yeah,
And then
that's an
and then before you do this, can we all read it and memorize it so that if for some reason, because we know like physical things have actually changed once we've gone inside and then come out, so we'll all memorize it too. So basically, if all our minds agree with what's on that paper, and then that paper changes, and then you change, then we know what events potentially could have changed in that process too.
Excellent, Penny. And he says, here's what I'll do. He scribes that all down, all right? And he gives it to you, and then he pulls out a gem, and he casts, and he makes a duplicate copy of that information over onto another piece of parchment. And he folds it over, seals it with wax when he's done, and he keeps a copy in his desk drawer, and he gives a copy to you. And he's like, I can see you've been coached in matters of arcane by Delbert and Jedabink. That was well thought, Penny.
Well, I mean, I'm constantly around two people that are probably some of the greatest minds in that field in Blackmore, so yeah.
I would have just ripped it in half and see if the two pieces match.
I'm also around other lesser minds as well, so you can't expect, great results all the time.
That's actually not a terrible thought.
But it is a terror.
You were doing so
And you
good right up
ruined
to
it.
that pun. Yep. All right.
And you ruined it.
So,
That's
So
because
then-
I'm on a tear of paper.
No. The magic thing is ruined.
Well, shall we?
I believe it's time to descend. So, next morning then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, are we going to have the traditional almost drink too much, but don't it to come back in? Really good meal. Have your friends there.
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
Jenna Pink won't be drinking, but yes, otherwise.
Why would
All right.
Jenna not be drinking again?
So,
Jenna Pink tries not to drink every damn time.
your mom and dad,
And-
mom
and-
and dad and Megan show up. Your cousin shows up. All right, so your family shows up. Your brother and mom show up with his wife and his baby. All right, so everybody shows up, and you get a private dining room, and you are fed. All right, and Arwen plays, and it is just a wonderful night. All right, and then it's morning.
And Jessup will definitely be there.
Jessup is there.
I'm going to throw a potion of healing in the fire.
Sacrifice to Hirsch.
Yep. Yep.
I can dig that.
50 gold. I think that's what they are, yeah.
Yeah.
The regular ones. Yeah.
I'm going to throw Idris's coin pouch into the fire.
That's fine. It's big. It may weigh more than you.
No, that's absolutely an appropriate sacrifice, So, all right. Good night. So we're at morning, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys make your way to Castle Blackmore.
Yep.
Yep.
And they lead you, you come through the gatehouse, up around the mount to the front gate of the castle proper. And they bring you in through the King's Gardens. All right. And then they cross down through the gatehouse of the keepers and down to
Gates. I turned to our wizard and I'm like, why don't you just speak friend and enter us in here? Get us in.
You step down to the gate and you're prepared. You've been given the sigil. And the gatekeeper stands before you and he leans on his staff. And of course, the Kamasti elves that are his wardens stand beside him also. And he goes, So, do you descend of your own free will?
We do.
Do you,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, kind of, again.
do you accept the risks and dangers that come with descent into the castle?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you pledge to
Yes.
take only actions that are in direct support of Uta and the kingdom which he represents?
Yes.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yes.
Do you swear by your blood, your family, and your God to do good in the way that you can as you encounter the darkness below?
Again, solid maybe.
Right now, only by my God, but yes.
Yeah, and I'll go with the one without the god. So we'll do that.
So you all make the best, swear the best oath you can based on your dispositions, correct?
There was a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah.
maybes. A lot of
Yeah.
maybes.
Conditionals.
All right. And this is a formula. Every time you guys have gone down, he's done this. And
Caveat.
he turns, and while a force comes up, one of the guys gets ready to cast a chain lightning. They get all ready, all right, and like you've seen them do before, and the doors creep open. And the first time the doors crept open, skulls poured out and around you. That doesn't happen this time, but the doors pop open, and there is a faint wash of blue light, and you hear laughter.
I turn to the party and I'm like, we are dead. We descend in here, and only victory will bring us life when we come out. So let's go.
You cross through?
Yeah.
Yes.
You cross through. The doors close behind you, and you hear a metallic ring. Are you descending?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
You got your torch out, right, Delbert?
Yeah, and they gave us the thing to get back, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
You're set.
Okay.
You're set.
I actually don't need the torch now.
How long does it last?
8 hours.
And the
8
clock
hours
starts.
at a shot. I can see in the dark now.
Nice. No more torches.
No more torches.
Delbert, I love you.
Three level one spells a day.
Well, I mean, we're not going to run constantly, so
You're like,
All right.
I had to double check whether catapult had dark vision. I was scared there for a second.
All
hey,
right.
you know what? I
There
don't
you
think
go,
it's the
brothers
same
and
level one.
sisters. That is the basement you were in before, where you initially encountered the carrion crawlers and fought your way back out away from the rats that were chasing you. You step down into that space, and let's see, we got an 18 passive perception down there, right?
Correct.
Okay, Jenna Bank. You hear a creak of metal, and you hear the shifting sound. The shifting sound of someone's foot as they go kong, kong.
I using symbols that I'm sure that Penny has taught me, call a halt and point in the direction that I hear that.
Okay. Give me a second here to find my new goodies.
So, Penny actually does speak sign language. That's one of her languages. So I would have
I
taught
don't. So
She
yeah,
speaks it? Ah.
Yeah, I would have taught you simple sign language for like halt. Go.
okay. So yeah, so then that's what I'm using. I'm assuming that Penny,
Basic-
in order
basic
to
hand.
prevent-
Bad danger.
worst danger.
Yeah, is it one of these or is it one of these?
All right.
These.
You guys see emerging from the darkness 4 clockwork creatures. So, with a blue sheen carrying halberds, and behind them a huge clockwork creature carrying a large hammer with a ball of flame emerging from its hand. I would ask you to roll initiative, but, well, we'll have to do that next week. All right, so let's talk about real quickly what you guys did this week and what your interests are and what you're feeling. And we will start with Penny. Penny, what's your recap? How is Penny feeling right now, and where are you at?
Penny is always excited to go back into the dungeons of horrible death to apparently find some crystals that Jinnabink needs to do some arcane science that's going to protect us or something. But Jinnabink is actually feeling, or not Jinnabink, Penny's actually feeling pretty good about what's happening in the city right now. The Were Rat situation is resolved. They're in a relatively safe location. She's not 100%, happy with yet, and thinks it's all going to go horrible. But as of right now, everything's going pretty copacetic.
Everything is pretty okay.
Yeah. So Penny's feeling pretty not bad.
He's not crap.
Yeah, not super excited to go back into the dungeons because it's always terrible in here.
So, Genebink, where are you at?
I'm very excited to be back in the dungeon. I want to go check on my workshop, but clearly we have to clear out some, additional scrap metal for me to accumulate to my workshop first. I'm very, I'm back in field research mode, which is much more fun than going to parties and being embarrassed by Uther.
Check. So Genebink's feeling like she's back in her element. This is what she wants to do, right?
Well, aside from the past 6 weeks of me being able to just put head down and research, yes.
Excellent. For Solanto, Delbert, let's talk about where Delbert is.
Delbert is ready to go back down into the dungeon, but he's at the point where he kind of has as much going on above ground that he's concerned with as below. So it's a mixed feeling about how, do we go back down here or do we stay up top?
So for him, I have an obligation to do this. I know it's in the best interest of the state, but things are always so hard up above. So he's feeling that conflict of Jessup, his family, the coot messing with things, and we have to figure out what's going on below, right?
Right. And
okay, cool. That makes sense.
And it's always the thought that if we don't deal with it, then it's going to kill everyone eventually.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a heavy sense of obligation. The night we have our little party, Delbert's going to talk to Jessup and say, it breaks my heart to leave you behind every time we go down here.
Right.
And I'll take out a little piece of wood, a heart that I've created, and I'll snap it in half and give her half.
Oh, that's worth inspiration. Oh, baby. That's good role playing. Excellent. And we'll dive into that a little bit more effectively as we are, mining some role playing moments. So, Idris.
Yeah, I have a feeling Catapult's going to have to go up another version after seeing that new creature. Because clearly Genebink's pissed off somebody. They sent in the big guns, it looks like. So they're clearly coming from somewhere that's not here. But he doesn't have to worry about a house because he can sleep anywhere down here. So, upgrades. But mainly he's very curious to see if there is a time shift, like how long we spend down here versus if there's a time shift. Because there's the potential for, he could find out real quick what happened to his family if we jump ahead. Yeah. And I think he's actually strangely looking forward to getting some payback on his father. So while he's in the relative safety of the dungeon away from him.
Right.
Where he deals with the other things. And I think he's probably going to be a bit more careful down here because it seems every time we come down here, new, more powerful things keep showing up, even though we're still on the first level. He's heard stories. There's 20 of them. That's not a good sign that we're still coming down the stairs here.
Yeah, if you remember the conversation you had with Patricia and also
I was not there.
The other noble. Okay. One of the things that they warned you about is it always seemed to match you. The farther you went, the more you were in it, the harder it became. So
you're telling us we shouldn't research clockwork new machines because they're going to come spring out of our minds. Happy thoughts, people. Happy thoughts. Small children, they're easier to beat the clockwork automatons. Come on.
One more thing that Penny's going to blame me for. Fantastic.
So,
way to go, Jenna.
This is the champion you thought of for us? This? Really, Ray?
Good job, Ray.
All right. I just want to thank everybody for watching the stream. We really appreciate you coming in and sitting with us and enjoying our story. We will be back same time next week doing very, very similar things. And thank you so much. And normally we raid, but we're going to not do that tonight. We're just going to hop off because I have folks that need me right now over on the family side of things. And, well, I need to do that. So thank you all so much for watching the stream. Uther once and always. And we'll see you next week as we descend back into the dungeons of Castle Blackmore. Y'all have a great, great, great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.